Thanks, Aaron. We'll get some reaction from Adelaide Oval throughout the night, but we're coming in hot here. Two fierce arch rivals, Essendon and Hawthorn, to launch their seasons against one another on Saturday Night Footy. You're with Tony Armstrong.
Bounce is good. Draper wins it, taps it straight down. McAvoy butters up, hacks it forward. Well done there by Warpool. Works it out, finds Shields. Shields enters to the top of the square. Big fly, Segler! Takes the mark at the top of the square in front of Francis, and the Hawks have the dream start to season 2021.
So no late change for either side. Connor Downey becomes the first man to start or debut as the medical sub. So it's his first game tonight, and Tom Cutler to wear the tracksuit top for Essendon. Lids and BJ are both here. G'day, lads.
G'day, boys.
Corbs, Tone, good to be back.
Good to be back. Not in the boardroom.
Everyone's a little bit excited, aren't they, Tony? You up and down.
Oh, that was so good. Segler comes in from just about point blank and makes no mistake. Hawks draw first blood inside the first minute. 1 goal straight 6. Plays the Bombers yet to score their 6 points up.
If something's not, that hasn't changed is the surface. Aaron Francis slips over in the goal square, gives Segler just that metre he needed, but it was a great kick by Shields in the coming out of the centre bounce. So good start by the Hawks. We didn't get time to really talk, but I'm favouring the Bombers tonight. So, yeah, wasn't giving the Hawks. Yeah, no, honestly, no bias here.
Oh, okay.
No,
that's good. I'm on the Hawks.
Just don't rate the Hawks.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, that'll be a good contest then. Let's,
We've got great insights tonight. Brendan Goddard, not that long retired. Brett Delidio, part of Hawthorne staffer not that long ago.
Yep.
Started last
couple
year.
Of months.
So you'll be able to give us some great insight on both of these two teams tonight. Two bottom 6 sides from last year. Probably the biggest turnover that Alistair Clarkson's had in the off-season for the Hawks. A bunch of new faces, and for the Bombers, they got 5 newbies out there tonight as well, with a couple on debut. More on all of that momentarily. We'll have another stoppage in the middle. So Nick Cox, pick 8 in the national draft to debut for Essendon. Harry Jones, a second-year player, debuting tonight, the 20-year-old. And for Hawthorn, Jacob Kazitsky, Tyler Brockman, who kicked some bags in the pre-season. And meanwhile, as we mentioned, Downey to debut out of the medical vest. Quick kick forward from the Hawks. Another stoppage here between wing and half forward. Hawks in trouble. The tackle laid by the best and fairest winner, Ridley, who'll get the free kick at half back for the Bombers. Essendon in their home jumper with the red sash and the black shorts. Hawthorn in the brown and gold with the white shorts.
Ridley goes long to right half forward. Draper's there. He flies early. The ball gets over the back. Hardwick takes a chest mark. Just a little dinky one. Inside finds Shields. Manning the mark there is Snelling. That was Hardwick, went out to the open side of the ground. That's good footy. Kazitsky drives it long, looking for Segler. Coming in third man over the top was Ridley. The ball's over the back. Heppel taps it forward. Good play here by the Bombers. Ridley goes laterally out wide to the boundary. And now back to Heppel safely. Looking to centre wing. Pack forms. Big fly at the front. Intercept mark taken by Hardwick on centre wing.
City side of the ground. He goes short. Out to Phillips, one of the new faces for Hawthorn. Along with the debutants and Kyle Hardigan, the other one, the former Crow. As Phillips kicks it deep into the pocket. Segler there again, hands to it, no mark. Hits the deck, Segler follows up, gets a hand pass away. There's going to be a free kick spotted here, and it's going to come back to Essendon for a throw. It's going against Tim O'Brien and the Bombers to take it. Jai Caldwell with the free kick.
Caldwell goes very short. Handball finds its way to Merritt. Merritt goes out wide, looking to access his skipper just behind centre wing, city side of the ground. He kicks it forward. Finds Cox for his first touch in league footy. Just forward to centre wing, hard up against the boundary. He drives it long inside 50. Pack forms. Hits the deck, tip and Woody's there. Has a second effort. Handball comes up, finds its way to Shields. His hat kick forward. He's looking for Segler, but it's not going to get there. Merritt taps it cleverly over the back to Francis. Francis sells some candy, puts on the burners, kicks short. Intercept mark, though. Hawks have it at right half back. Will Day with the ball.
So Day kicks into the middle of the ground, finds Jager, who marks, swings a hand pass away quickly to Jarman Impey, who takes on the tackler. Kicks from halfway into an open forward 50. Bruce out positioned, and Heppel in his new role in defence takes the intercept mark. He goes short to Merritt. And Merritt will swing it out further wide to the back flank. This is Nick Hind, the former Saint, the Essendon jumper. Kicks down the city wing, and Smith has the ball knocked away from him, so a throw in right on halfway.
whilst we're on the topic of Dyson Heppel, that's one area for Essendon that's really vulnerable is the defence. We got very inexperienced with Hooker making the move now forward, and then the obvious out in Hurley, who's going to be out for a while, is my belief, with that infected hip. So they're very vulnerable down back, but they're going to get some great experience this year.
Ground level, here's that man, Heppel. Handballs it forward. Finding Shield on his right foot. Hacks it forward. Here's 2 metre Peter. Handballs to Harms. Goes back to Merritt. Merritt just a short one to about 45 out, but intercept mark taken again. Good work there by Will Day. Coming off half back. You like him, Lids?
I certainly do, mate. Clever player. Only in his second year, but just gets it, mate. He gets himself in the right spots and grown a bit over the summer too, mate. So he's going to turn into that real third key back.
Off the hands of the contest on the wing. Warpool collects for Hawthorn. They look threatening going forward. Segler marks 60 out, puts it to the hot spot. Spills front and centre, and there's Nick Hine to race away with it for the Bombers. Spots McDonald, Tip and Woody. Listen to 50,000 fans get involved at Docklands as he goes running down the wing. Has a bounce, hooks his kick back to half forward, but it's McAvoy who works his way in front, takes the intercept mark, so McAvoy dropping back into defence.
Risky kick, misses Impey, puts him under all sorts of pressure. Draper gets up on the second half and sells some candy. Goes the banana. Fine shot. Jeez, you love seeing the big men take him on minor score.
It doesn't end very well, though, does it?
That was brilliant.
Like, there's some great stuff there, but it's just... But a terrific follow-up. It was just in that forward 50 entry there, Waller just made a poor decision when it was hooks in and 2 metre Peter. There was a 2v3, and Hawthorn had the advantage, but I think you just got to try and put it to, I think it was 2 metre Peter's advantage, just boundary side. That risky kick inside didn't pay off, and it was lucky it didn't go back down the other end for a score.
Minor score for the Bombers. They trail by 5. 1 goal straight 6, plays 1 solitary behind. 6.5 minutes gone.
Long ball straight up the middle for the Hawks. Here's Redmond, middle of the ground for Essendon. Wins it. Hand pass to Merritt. Sweeping hand pass. Put his teammate Ham under the pump. Gives it off to Shield. Turns and kicks a high ball inside the forward 50. Right pressures the pack. Slips out the back. Morrison first one there for Hawthorn. McDonald, Tip and Woody slips over. Morrison wins the footy. Tumbles a punt out to half-back. Wanted Howe. Knocked away from him out of play. And a throw in half forward for the Bombers. Jess Webster on the boundary for us. Jess, it's been a hot start, but welcome to you for the 2021 AFL season.
Thanks, Corby. It's absolutely fantastic to be here. The energy from the crowd at the moment is truly heartwarming. They're expecting a packed house under COVID restrictions, about 25 to 26,000 in the house tonight.
Off hands, Hams goes to the top of the square. Hooker can't quite take the mark, butters up his work. Got stripped, and there's a free kick. And it's going to go to Hawthorn. No, it's going to go to Hooker, who has got high, and he'll be lining up from about 15 metres out right in front to put the Bombers in front.
I see a bit Shawnee Burgoyne just come in a little bit hot there, did he? And grabbed him high, but it'll be a good start for Big Hooksy going forward, and obviously that's their one wood going forward with Big Peter Wright down there. So it'd be good for him to get on the board early. Back him in, Beach.
Yeah.
In comes Cal Hooker, and you've lost him.
Well, I wasn't overly confident, but
he's hooked it. Minor score, 2 behinds, trails 1 goal straight 6. 8.5 minutes gone.
I think he sensed your nervousness, Ben.
Oh, did he?
It just needed a straight answer. It
was the yes or no, maybe.
He'll kick it from the 15 out. Hawthorn off half-back through Jarman Impey. Kicks down the city wing. Standing underneath it, Laverde. No mark. Spells front and centre. Bruce for Hawthorn. Away by hand of Mitchell, who came off the bench. Coming back from that shoulder complaint. Howe to Jarman Impey. Short kick to McAvoy, who marks right on halfway. No late change for either side. Cutler, the medical sub for Essendon. Connor Downey on debut for the Hawks. This is Howe. Long inside the forward 50. O'Brien out of position. Forced to spoil from the back. He gives away a free. But his hands in the back of Dyson Heppel, who takes the free for Essendon. Back pocket goes back to Ridley.
Ridley with the ball. Continues the ball. Coming across the goals. Finds Redmond. Redmond goes very short. He finds McGrath looking to go quickly. Just dinks a very short one to Merritt. He comes back inside, finds Redmond. They're still inside their own defensive 50. He goes very short. Oh, brings Shields into play. Shields now has the ball. Handballs defence. Oh, might have been a free. It was. Now Mitchell has it. Kicks it forward looking for McAvoy. Big fly. Can't take the mark. It's at ground level. Here's Bruce. Handball finds Mitchell. Mitchell back to Morrison. Morrison flying shot. Made no mistake, in the Hawks, they extend their lead. 2 straight 12. plays 2 minors 2. 10 minutes gone. Morrison's first.
Well, young Ned Cahill there is actually on the lead to start with, and
Waited, didn't he?
yeah, it's I guess a lack of experience, because you never want to be standing flat-footed in that short 45. You're always expecting some pressure from behind, but initially he was on the lead and it was a good kick from Redmond, and he just stopped on it, which allowed Shields then to come in for the spoil and then turn the ball over at that, we used to call it turnover city, and it's generally going back over your head for a goal, which it did. So pretty clean hands there from Mitchell and a couple of others for then Morrison just to finish nicely.
One other game tonight starts in 10 minutes. The Lions up against the Swans. No late change. Reece Matheson, the medical sub for Brisbane. Will Hayward for Sydney. A great juxtaposition tonight with Joe Danaher making his debut for Brisbane against Sydney, the team he may have joined before 2020. And, of course, the Bombers playing at the same time. They're down by 10 points here against the Hawks early doors. Mitchell crunched in the middle by Ham. Ball spills free. Still no clean takeaway out the middle. Mitchell off the deck, gets it back to Warple, back to Burgoyne, all by hand. Sweeping hand pass to Chengu with Giath off half-back. And look at him go as he tucks the footy under his arm. Peels off half-back, gives it to Morrison, kicks down the line, missed his target. Slips out of bounds in front of Francis. A boundary throw-in just forward of halfway for the Hawks.
There's no doubt about Giath. Once he gets a chance to tuck it under the arm and bounce off half-back, mate, he's going to light it up for most of the year if he gets the opportunity, that's for sure.
Throw in, Segler at front spot. Ball gets over the back. Mitchell has it. He's immediately wrapped up. But there's a throw being called. It's going to go against William Shields. And the free kick's going to go to Langford.
I mentioned little slices of history, Lids. He made his debut, Changu, in the game. He played in the snow game.
He played on me, actually.
Is that how your calf went that night?
Yeah.
Trying to chase Changu at the round?
The kick goes forward to right half forward. Front spot was Segler. Ground level Shields. Now the ball's made its way to Tip and Woody. Breaking the paint. Comes inside, finding Jones. He goes again, finds Caldwell. Back to Tip and Woody. Wrapped up by Giath. But it's in the back.
Stiff.
In the back. And Tip and Woody, the sharpshooter, will be lining up from 30 out, almost directly in front.
I think I got an issue with that it probably was in the back, but the ball had already come out in the contest. So it was actually his second kind of action that was in the back. So it didn't really affect his disposal or his...
In the play.
It wasn't in play, essentially. And there's nothing else that Giath could actually
Like a second phase type thing, yeah.
Because there's so much momentum going forward by both players that it's a natural kind of thing to fall forward. So it's not instinctive to kind of stop and try and roll over on it on your back to prevent any contact in the back.
Tip and Woody looking to kick the Bombers' first goal of season 2021 in the men's competition. He lines up and he makes no mistake. And the players come from everywhere to get around Tipper. 1-2-8, trails 2 straight 12. The Hawks are up by 4. We've played 13 minutes here at the Docklands.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Beach. As a player, I would have sooner had those ones paid than not paid. Someone's landing right me back, especially with a shot on goal. That's one thing that McDonald, Tip and Woody does do very well. He's a dead eye. Just a little thing I've noticed since watching Zachy Merritt already. I reckon these new rules, if he doesn't win the contest for most uncontested marks this year, I'm not sure who else is going to be in it. What's he already up to today? He's already up to 6 touches. He's already had the 2 marks.
But it's going to suit guys like him, Beauf, because he's such a good boy. So
yes.
He's the guy that literally there should be a team rule saying you get in the 45.
Get it to him, yeah.
Get in the short 45s because we want you with the ball in hand, because he can, on a pivot, just turn, especially on his left, and just hit that target that needs to be hit to get, exposed defences.
2-1. Don's down by 4, but taking it out the middle. Here's Andrew McGrath, tucks it under his arm, kicks out to half forward. Harry Jones on debut, turns Frost inside out.
Nice.
Great kick. Centres it up to Caldwell, who marks back in the corridor. He'll kick from 20 out. Harry Jones, what a start.
Oh, mate, yeah. That his first touch, he fumbled that just on someone 50 there, but that turn there for a big bloke, 196, 197 centimetres, and then the delivery was beautiful to Jai Caldwell, and his first game for the Bombers too after coming from the Giants. So
5 new faces for both teams. 2 on debut in the AFL for Essendon, 3 for Hawthorn. Jai Caldwell in his new colours, set shot, clips the post. 3/4 of the way up. Essendon 1-3, Hawthorn 2 straight. Saturday night footy.
He's made a smart move, Jai, by choosing number 6, because there's already a few number 6 floating around. So I said to do when he took number 9.
Impey drives it long to centre wing. Pack forms at ground level. Phillips has the ball. It's turned over now, though. Snelling, little dinky handball over the top to Heppel. Heppel on the left. Rushed kick forward. Hardwick comes over the top, as he does so often. Third man up. Takes the intercept mark and brings it inboard to Giath.
He'll switch from one flank to the other. Out he comes to Kyle Hartigan, the former Crow. Kicks in front of the interchange gates. Big spoil, Nick Hind. Kicks it away from Tyler Brockman, the West Aussie on debut, and a boundary throw in front of the interchange gates. Just repeating, what a turn-up in the twilight over at Adelaide Oval. The Crows by 12 over Geelong. And just jumping in the car for the first time having been out. That is correct. Adelaide, last year's Wooden Spooners, have beaten last year's grand finalist by 12 points. Much earlier, Melbourne by 22 over Freo. From the stoppage, Hawthorne had it, lost it. Phillips crunched in the tackle. Shields fights on for it, wrapped up by McGrath. And we'll have a holding the ball call against Liam Shields. So the umpire's keen to keep it moving. And now McGrath to take it defensive side of the wing, almost at half back for Essendon. 16 minutes into this opening term, Hawks by 3.
McGrath scanning his options, looking left and right. Eventually just kicks long in the 2 metre Peter direction. The pack formed, it's got over the back. First man on the scene's Hartigan. Wheels towards the boundary side, handballs forward. It's a risky one. Good work there by Day. Took it, but now it's been intercepted there by Shields. Dylan Shield, I should say. And he immediately wrapped up Warple. Good pressure there by the Dons.
Essendon supporters will be complaining about the umpiring in a minute, just quietly.
So we're going to throw up right on the 50.
Got a stat there, lads.
7-0 Essendon's way. A free kick count. It is their home game. Majority of the crowd, Essendon in the house tonight. Parrish to McGrath, away towards Heppel and now to Hind, all by hand, but the Bombers retreating. Back to Heppel, got it broadcast wing, kicks inside 50. Impey courageously floats through the pack, takes the mark. Inside the defensive 50. It's a game rich with storylines. We came in sort of hot off the back of Adelaide and Geelong, but we'll pick apart a few of those throughout the night. Big turnover for the Hawks in the off-season. Floats over the back of the intended pack on the wing. Brockman runs onto it, jams it on his non-preferred left boot, turns it over. Francis off half-back for Essendon.
Merritt with the ball, received the handball. Short one to McGrath, back to Francis. By hand, got the overlap run back to McGrath, but he sold him into trouble. Back to Francis. The Hawks are coming, they're hunting. Trying to get it forward there was Mitchell to Bruce. Bruce taps it out in the Warple direction. The ball goes back to Mitchell. He handballs inside, pretty scrappy stuff. The Bombers come out with it now. He's right. He goes out wide. We're still inside the middle of the ground. Good work there by Cox. Short to Tippermoody and extra short again to Dylan Shield. Unmarked, unchecked, pulled his kick. And Shield will line up from about 40 out right in front.
Let's be honest, Essendon are lucky to get away with that one. That was Aaron Francis handball that just put it behind Andy McGrath, which actually stalled everything because I think he had a little bit of space and the speed to get through that and break the line, but there was good pressure, and then they get away with one with, I don't know who it was, the Hawthorn player slipping over there. Smart play by Waller to find Shield here. Shield
lines up, makes no mistake, goes bang. For the first time this evening, the Bombers are in front. 2 goals, 3-15, plays 2 straight 12. We've played 18 and a half minutes.
I think, as you said earlier, Beach, it looks immaculate from up here, but a lot of boys slipping over at the moment. I think it's, as we've always found, when you used to play on it, it looks really nice, but on top it can be quite hard, and you don't want to...
Sandies.
Yeah, you don't want to wear screw-ins because you know your feet will be cut to shreds at the end of the game, but standing up in mould sometimes can be a bit challenging. And we saw that from Dan Howe out there on the wing, had a chance to take an easy chest mark, drops it, and some clever work from Waller to put it on Dill Shield's chest.
I think you can see the intent from Essendon too, and I'm an advocate and fan of this man on the mark rule. It somewhat looks silly too. They're standing like statues. The umpires are going to get it wrong from time to time, but it really does open up that 45 and the opportunity to really go quick and fast. So it's one of the better rules, in my opinion, that they've changed. It isn't going to have a real impact and look on the game.
It's Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio before him on Grandstand AFL. Heppel comes off the square. He's caught high. Advantage applied. Essendon away. They've kicked the last 2. Momentum with the Bombers. Hind hands it to Parrish. Kicks it to the top of the goal square. Getting back Frost. He outmarks right. to take the mark. Last line of defence for the Hawks. Jess Webster on the boundary.
I've been watching Connor Downey on the Hawks bench at the moment. There are no obvious injury concerns for the Hawks, but he's been getting up out of his seat, playing around with the footy, doing a couple of run-throughs on the boundary. I think he's putting the vibe out there that he wants to get out in the park tonight for his debut.
Smart.
First guy to make his debut as the medical sub is Chengi Bachia. Just kicked it short to Howe, dropped the sitter chest mark and slips out of bounds. So a boundary throw in, 30 out for the Essendon goal. Left half forward, Bombers 2-3, Hawthorn 2 straight as we approach time on in the first.
Bombers have kicked the last 2 goals of the game. In comes the ball. McAvoy works for front spot. Free kick pulled out. Hear the Bronx cheers from the crowd there, BJ. McAvoy goes extra short, misses his target, out of bounds. Alistair Clarkson will not be happy with that. We'll have a throw in right on the junction, city side of the ground. Bombers in attack.
5 new faces for Hawthorn, couple of debutants. They won a flag only 5 seasons ago, 109 games ago. They've only got 4 premiership players in tonight left from that team.
Ball gets over the back. Devon Smith picks it up. Handball's very short, looking for McGrath. His kick was partially smothered. Impey's there. Kicking it off the ground is Frost. It's outside defensive 50 now. Hams tries to kick it. The kick's partially affected. Now Warple has the ball at centre half back. Goes out wide. It's good. Finds Howe. Gives it to Giath. He can run. He's got space. Has a bounce. In front of centre wing now. Look at him go. 2 bounces. Kicks long inside 50. Working for front spot and finding it. Well done there by Brockman. And he'll be lining up for his first goal in league footy.
Good rebound and probably expect a little bit of frontal pressure there from Essendon, a little bit more to take that space from Giath.
You don't see it often much anymore, do you? With people bouncing down the outer wing, but
Ridley ended up coming, but he came late, so Giath had an opportunity to still take 20-30 metres of space, then able to get that ball in deep to a 1-on-1 where Redmond, it was a bit of a mongrel kick, but Redmond got outdone by Brockman, just reading it better off the boot.
Tyler Brockman lining up almost right in front. He loves it. Both fists up in the air. The Hawks are back in front. Tyler Brockman kicks his first goal in league footy. 3 goals straight, 18. The Hawks are yet to miss. Essendon 2-3-15. They trail by 3. 21 and a half minutes played in this first term here at the Docklands. Jeez, it was nice watching him stream, wasn't it?
Oh, it is. It's a part of the game we've probably gone away from a little bit with the dashing halfbacks and taking the grass in front of them. We've always had someone there to kick to, but it was like he kicked the goal after the siren there, Beach. Every single bloke from Hawthorn got to him, and I think CJ nearly jumped over the pack. He was that excited for the young bloke kicking his first goal.
Wasn't his first kick?
No, he had the left foot
inside out Tory down.
That didn't count.
Yeah. No, don't worry about that one.
You caught a goal yet, Corpse?
No, I don't think so. I think you're 5 straight so far, Tony, to start the new season on Saturday nights. In form early, back in the middle, McAvoy wins the tap down to Mitchell off the short pre-season. Kicks it to centre half forward, out to meet it. Hind, he's got tackled, dispossessed. Got rid of it illegally, said the umpire. Free kick to Ollie Hanrahan inside the centre square, still for Hawthorn. Loads up long, O'Brien flies. Fist from Ridley over the back, still alive. Right on the goal line, tackled into the post. The umpire lets them all go. Still alive to 40, last line of defence for Essendon. Eventually it's over the boundary line. That's Jacob Kaczynski on debut, was tackled, bounced off the point post. Unlike Lee Matthews, the post stayed intact. Still up there, 23 minutes into the opening term. Hawks by 3 points, Essendon kicking 2 of the last 3 in the game.
There's a sea of players inside that forward 50. O'Meara left the ball behind, quick kick out of defensive 50 by Merritt off his right boot. Comes back in, off the back of Day, a spoil. Snelling, quick give to Merritt, but his kick was just a hack kick, found Burgoyne, and now the Hawks reload.
He switches, finds Howe in the middle of the ground. He's got Impey running shotgun, gives it to him, so Impey kicks it out to the fat side on the half-forward flank once more. He's outnumbered 3-1, and the ball sits for Ham and the Bombers across half-back. Ham pass to Heppel, to Ridley, away back to Hand, gives it to McGrath, kicks off half-back to Peter Wright, works his way up the ground. It was knocked away from him too late, said the umpire, so Mark paid for Peter Wright, the former son. He goes back to Merritt. A big year for him, off contract, back in the leadership group. The star midfielder for the Dons. Zach Merritt goes short to Heppel. The skipper's got it. City wing, Hawks by 3 points, time on opening turn.
Not much movement forward. So Heppel just goes to the point of the square. Big fly coming over the side there was Draper, who was the third man in the contest. He wastes no time, drives it inside 50. Here's Harry Jones. No, but going back was Devon Smith. He left it behind, though, dropped the chest mark in the end. The ball gets over the back, left foot clearing kick is good, finds O'Brien. And the Hawks breathe a sigh of relief. Left half back, just kicks short, looking for Bruce. Gathers it on the bounce, gives it inside to O'Meara. He rides the tackle, gives it back to Bruce, back to O'Meara, who's got support in Morrison. So he just kicks a high, up and under. Draper's in the box seat. Back with courage was Bruce. At the front of the pack was Parrish. Gave to Shield. Back to Parrish. He's bursting through, getting chased, though, by Brockman. The kick inside 50 was affected. Too strong by Frost, and the Hawks rebound.
Frost wants to go too. Plays on through centre half back. Spots Howe all by himself out on that outer wing. Marks dishes the hand pass to Impey. The Hawks a chance to go on the slingshot. Long to Hanrahan. He was pushed into it by Heppel, and he hangs on to it. Ollie Hanrahan in front of the Don skipper. He's got it. 25 out, 10 in from the boundary line.
I think that's the game that we're going to start to see a bit more of, in that the turnover market's in half back and Frost just turns and goes. Midfielder who can't quite get back to help. He's out there on the wing by himself, and I'm not sure whether Jarman Impey was going for young Ollie Hanrahan, who had Kajitsky by himself, but a great mark nonetheless.
They haven't been able to miss tonight. Ollie Hanrahan in number 13 this year. He moves in, he's dropped punt, hits the post. Halfway up. Haven't been able to get one in yet, Tone. Corbin Middlemass, Tony Armstrong, Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio and Jess Webster on the boundary. It's a 4-point lead for the Hawks approaching quarter time.
Ridley, couple of bounces. He's almost outside defensive 50 before he kicks, and he goes long, looking for Peter Wright. He rises and takes a strong grab, wastes no time, gives to Snelling. He's got the overlap in Langford. He brings it back inside, misses the kick though. Now could turn it over. Off the deck there was Merritt, might have been in danger, wasn't paid. Inside 50 now, Hands rides a tackle. Looks to go back to Merritt, off the ground again. This time McAvoy takes the intercept grab and just releases the pressure valve to left half back, finding Howe for the Hawks.
So Daniel Howe's had a bit of it in the opening term. O'Brien goes for the early ride, slips out the back to Nettie Carl. In defence this year for the Bombers. Hand pass away to Redmond. Feeds it further forward to Langford. Good kick. Hits up Will Snelling, who marks broadcast wing. Top 10 in the B&F for Essendon last year. Goes short to Parrish, who turns and puts it to the hot spot. Jones flies, no mark. He's going to get a free kick.
Going to stay.
There, yeah.
That was there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Pretty obvious from up here. I think it's just the left hand of your man Day, is it?
Yeah. Outsized.
And Harry Jones is going to have a set shot to kick his first goal in AFL footy.
You just like those inside 50s just to be a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
That's Darcy Parish on his second one. That he was the one that kicked it in where Hooksy got outmarked by Frost, but it's just a little bit shallow. He's got to then try and find someone just to advantage if he doesn't have an obvious lead, and just try and get it in deeper. And it's up to the forwards too to actually hold the space and not get short on it.
Because that's really good from a rebound point of view if you get it sort of 50 to 40 out.
Yeah, because he's not quite in that launch zone. He's probably about 80 metres out, which makes it hard to get.
In comes Harry Jones. His first goal in AFL footy will have to wait. He misses.
Your first goal will have to wait.
Out to the left.
Yeah, so he just wants to get in a little bit deeper. So it actually try and find something a little bit wider or hit a lead up as opposed to that bomb to about 40 out.
Joe's already kicked one for Brisbane. The Lions 3-1 lead. Sydney yet to score. So that 19-point lead for Brisbane. 15 minutes into the opening term at the Gabba.
3 points in it here at the Docklands. Silk Burgoyne brings it in. Sterling does well though. Couple of efforts and works the ball out of bounds. 70 around from the Bombers' goal. They trail by 3 points. We'll have a throw in, city side of the ground. No one inside Hawthorn's forward 50. As the ball comes in, working for front spot, there's McAvoy. Off hands to O'Meara. Just kicks it down the line, looking for Kazitsky. Ridley's there with him. Little hat kick forward. Just dribbled over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in between wing and half forward. City side of the ground. 29 minutes gone. It's been a long quarter.
And if you'd hoped you were going to get 9 out of the gates in the footy tipping, Adelaide have beaten Geelong. So the Crows by 12 points in the earlier game.
I tipped it there.
Surely not.
15-13 to 13-13.
Some idiot that likes odds, that's about it.
Essendon win the footy. Carl with it right on the bell to end the opening quarter. First Saturday of the new AFL season, we've had a bit of everything. Melbourne by 22 over Freo, Adelaide by 12 over Geelong. Patrick Dangerfield with an incident that will be scrutinised, no doubt, by the match review officer Michael Christian, leaving Jake Kelly concussed. Both medical subs were made there. We've got a guy making his debut tonight here at Docklands as the medical sub in Connor Downey. 5 new faces for both Hawthorn and Essendon. Just the second time since in 1971 that these two teams have opened the season against one another. Two arch rivals, Essendon and Hawthorn. And at quarter time, there's barely anything between them. Hawthorn 3-1-19, Essendon 2-4-16. It's a 3-point lead for the Hawks. The goal kickers, Tyler Brockman kicked his first goal in AFL footy. It was his second kick of the game. One to Harry Morrison, and John Segler, who started up front, kicked the first goal of the match. Meanwhile, for Essendon, Anthony McDonald-Tipungwuti has one and Dylan Shield has the other. At the Gabba, quick score check. Sydney with their first there, so the Lions lead it by 12 points, 3-1 over Hawthorn, 1-1. They're a bit behind us, 13 minutes in the opening quarter up at the Gabba. Quarter time here on Grandstand AFL. It's the Hawks by 3 points. Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard with their take next.
If you're not going through an emergency situation right now, it might be the perfect time to explore the all-new ABC Emergency website. ABC Emergency lets you search for incidents near you, or you can check on other locations around the country. There's also a handy button that lets you listen to the local ABC radio station closest to the emergency. abc.net.au/emergency. Save it in your favourites now and keep listening to ABC Radio, your emergency broadcaster.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Bounces good, Draper wins it, taps it straight down, McAvoy butters up, hacks it forward. Well done there by Warpool, works it out, finds Shields. Shields enters to the top of the square, big fly, Segler! Takes the mark at the top of the square, in front of Francis, and the Hawks have the dream start. Segler comes in from just about point blank and makes no mistake. Hawks draw first blood inside the first minute. Shields, now the ball's made its way to Tipungwuti, breaking the paint, comes inside, finding Jones. He goes again, finds Caldwell, back to Tipungwuti, wrapped up by Gian, but it's in the back. In the back, and Tipungwuti, the sharpshooter, will be lining up from 30 out. Tipungwuti looking to kick the Bombers' first goal of season 2021 in the men's competition. He lines up, and he makes no mistake. Mitchell, he handles inside, pretty scrappy stuff. The Bombers come out with it now. He's right. He goes out wide. We're still inside the middle of the ground. He worked there by Cox. Short to Tipungwuti. An extra short again to Dylan Shield. Unmarked, unchecked, pulled his kick. And Shield will line up from about 40 out right in front. Shield lines up, makes no mistake, goes bang.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
It's quarter time here at Docklands. Hawthorn and Essendon opening their season. It's the Hawks by 3 points over the Bombers. Really new versions of themselves, Essendon and Hawthorn in 2021. Both finished bottom 6 last year. Essendon with a new full-time coach, Ben Rutten, who of course was there last year. Varying reports on how much control he had over things. He's got the team outright this year.
Yeah, full control, man.
While for Hawthorn, 3 of their 4 best players missing tonight. There's no Wingard, no Sicily, no Gunston, and Tom Mitchell, who is there, hasn't played a lot with his shoulder complaint. It's been the single biggest turnover in the off-season under Alistair Clarkson. Henderson out, Stratton retires, no Scully, no Puopolo, no Smith, no Patton, and the footy manager left as well, so plenty of new faces. What do we see through quarter number 1? Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Well, I think Beach was all over the Bombers before the game, and they've probably been the better side, although they just haven't kicked straight at the moment, have they? They've had a couple of opportunities, some easy set shots that they've just missed. But at the moment, you know, the Hawks are in front, but I think it's Essendon they've had more of the footy, and they've out-tackled the Hawks as well, you know. So they've also had the rub of the green with the umpires as well. They're certainly in front on that ledger, 10-3. They're giving their forwards every opportunity. They're up in the inside 50s. But I think it's just feeling each other out at the moment. There's been a few mistakes, a few people slipping over, as you'd expect in round 1. The heat's on, and you know, I think it'll just be a matter of who can hold on the longest at the moment, because we've seen a pretty free-flowing game at the moment, Beach.
Pretty open, yeah, a bit of circle work, but as you made mention, I think Essendon feel and look to be the dominant team, but just their lack of, I guess, composure and their ability to find targets inside 50 or get it deep enough where they can actually then lock it in. There hasn't been many times where they've gone in and it's
real
actually
deep,
stayed in there, and then
those shorter entries which you were talking about.
So then they get a stoppage, and they get a second chance at it, and they can set up behind the ball. So Hawks look, I think if you're really honest, Hawks only look dangerous off turnover, slingshot turnover. So that's where it comes a bit of circle work. So they are going fast. There's great intent. Man on the mark rules working. You can see the intent from the Bombers trying to get back to the. It's almost like we're back where we were probably 5-6 years ago, where it was like get it in the corridor, get it in a short 45. Teams got to a point where they're just trying to shove it in there, and they just got exposed on turnover. So it feels like we're going back to that, where just the intent of the players is the first thing to look there, because I think in the last 3 or 4 years it became don't even look there because it's not going to be there. So go more safe, look down the line, the short 45.
Flood it down the line.
Yeah, so that's great in my opinion. So that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Bombers are creating that overlap from the back half, getting inside 50, but just all being shallow. So you'd say that Hawks have done a pretty good job to get in front, because as we're alluding to, that Essendon have been the dominant team, I think, and had more opportunities.
I just realised this clock that I've been reading, I don't know if you've noticed earlier when I was reading the score for Brisbane-Sydney, it went from 15 minutes into the game to 13 minutes. I realised that the clock's actually counting down, not up. So as a result, there's now 9 minutes left in the opening quarter, and Brisbane 3-1.
Did someone raise that, or did you just,
I just worked it out yourself? Worked it out. 11-point lead.
You know, you could have just let that go.
People follow these things closely. Joe Danaher appears to be on report for swinging an elbow back
on
Dane
Rampy. Yeah, I just saw the incident. Didn't look like there was much in it.
I think they were both. Joey was pretty dumbfounded by a report.
Similar to Asprey the other night, in which he was able to get off with a fine. Earlier today, the Crows in the upset of the season. 12-point win over Geelong, 15-13 to 13-13 at Adelaide Oval.
What are we, five games in, mate?
And it was Melbourne by 22 points over Freo. Second quarter action here. The Bombers, after the errant bounce, it's Parrish who takes it out of the middle, kicks it deep to Hooker. Mark not paid. McDonald Tippermoody picks it up for Essendon. Hand pass to Snelling. High up and under, and the intercept mark taken by Morrison. He goes long and wide. He wanted Phillips. McGrath got across to Spoil, keeps it alive for Essendon. Hands it to right. His hand pass picked off. Hartigan for the Hawks to Mitchell. He goes back to Phillips on halfback.
Phillips goes short, looking for more. Falls just short of him. Bombers turn it over. McGrath has the ball. Misses his target in Caldwell. Puts him under enormous pressure. Now the Hawks have it. They've worried him out of it. Bruce goes long, looking for O'Brien. The kick's to his advantage. Great work though by Laverde. Got back. Good work by O'Brien though. He butted up, handballed forward. Found his teammate in Hanrahan. He left it behind though. Hot pressure. It's a hot footy. And the Bombers do well to scramble. And the ball goes out of bounds just inside forward 50, broadcast side of the ground. They lead by 3 points. We've played just over a minute in this second term.
We'll try and bring you some more from Adelaide Oval at half-time as well, with that big upset. The Crows by 12 points over Geelong. Patrick Dangerfield, a nervous wait after deciding to bump and really KOing Jake Kelly early in that fixture. From the stoppage, Hawthorn win it. It's O'Brien, kicks it to the hot spot. Carl put his head over the footy. Whack from the back by Kazitsky, spills free. Essendon come up with it. Here's Redmond, kicks out of the defensive 50. Finds Langford. He's tackled by Changuajet, who stands the mark, and the umpire says let it all go. So Langford to take his kick for Essendon.
Oh, it's a risky kick. Two blokes looked at each other. It ended up in Ham's hands. Gives it to McGrath, who goes long looking for Tippermoody. He's got Burgoyne on him. Burgoyne with experience just rode the pressure and just kind of edged the ball out of bounds. 25 around from the Bombers' goal. It's end-to-end stuff here at the Docklands. 3 points the margin. Bombers deep in attack.
They all looked at each other there, didn't they?
I love it how we almost forgot about other rules that got brought in last year. Like that a year ago, whenever 50. It was brought in, was 50, like within a millisecond of grabbing him. You can't do that.
The ball's in dispute just inside the forward 50 for the Bombers. The flick up. Finds Day. Then he finds Burgoyne, who goes out wide to the advantage of a couple of Hawks, but the boundary beats them all. Jeez, it was one of those ones that could have gone either way. The umpire elects to throw it in. Back where it all started, 25 around from the Bombers' goal. Broadcast side of the ground, linking to the northern end.
From the throw-in, Wright works his way to the front, pushes it in front of Langford, takes on the tackler, hand pass to Caldwell, goes back by hand to Wright, short kick, not 15 to McGrath, who snaps off a single step and bangs it through. Essendon hit the front again. 3 minutes into the second term. Andy McGrath didn't kick one last year. He gets his first of 2021 early in the second term tonight. Dons by 3 points, 3-4. Hawthorn 3-1. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
That I wouldn't have believed you if you
Not the one goal.
if that was a quiz question. Did Andy McGrath kick a goal last year?
Yeah. 14 games, 0 goals, 1.
Wow.
He did get injured a little bit. But it was great. It was just Andy McGrath's ability to shift around the ball. It's almost like it's a Petrarca-like. It's that, he's just so quick to react. He's got fast feet.
His feet are fast, aren't they?
Yeah.
Electric.
Delidio-like.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, he just moves quick, because you look at that stoppage, and if you paused it in the review come Monday, they're going to say, well, Hawthorn players and the rest of the Essendon team are all ball watching. Andy was the one playing the game and shifting with the ball.
Bounce is good. Draper wins the tap straight down to Caldwell. Left foot kick inside 50. Hardwick with front spot. Ball's in dispute at ground level. Tip and Woody gathers it. Immediately wrapped up by Burgoyne. Calls play on. I thought it might have been a ball up. McAvoy in there nice and hard. He's immediately wrapped up. Good pressure here by the Dons. They're pressing. They lead by 3. And we'll have a ball up just inside their forward 50 at true centre half forward.
I think, just quickly, I think there's been a deliberate shift in play. I think Burgoyne's gone to Waller, because he was damaging in that first quarter, and as good as he's kind of been with the ball in the hands, but Giath just got caught ball watching a little bit in that first quarter, so that's a deliberate move from Hawthorn.
Hawthorn win it from the stoppage. Now they're away for the middle of the ground. McAvoy marks, hand pass to Mitchell, gives it to O'Meara. He kicks long, and they're out here. The Hawks. Hanrahan takes the mark. Man on the mark just inside the 50. Spears his kick, one at O'Brien. Bangs bodies with merit. Ball spills free. The Bombers win it. Here's Nick Cox on debut, the big 2-metre tall recruit. A left footer as he goes long out towards Hooker. 2-on-1 wins it for Essendon. Hand pass back to right. Kicks inside 50, and Darcy Parish takes the mark. Nice build-up for Essendon off half-back, and Parish will have a set shot. 45-degree angle, 25 out.
It's kind of indicative of how the game's been played. Yeah, another shallow entry there from Young. Hanrahan, just missed the target. It was actually good defence by the Essendon mids. There was Caldwell there. Zachy Merritt actually affected the spoils, but then the slingshot way back. Cox was a great kick from centre half back.
On his opposite, mind you.
Hey?
On his opposite, mind you.
Is that his opposite?
Yeah, I thought he was a right footer.
Yeah, and a great kick to Hooker just out in advantage, and then great run from the small forwards in Essendon to get forward of the ball.
Parish hits the post. Third poster of the night. 3-5 to 3-1. 4-point lead for Essendon. 6 minutes into the second term.
You'd know the stats on that, wouldn't you?
On what?
How many posters? What the max is?
Had 3 tonight.
What the record is? What's the record in games? Well,
I haven't got that.
I'm expecting you to know.
Come back to you at half time.
Yeah. Bringing the ball in is Burgoyne. Runs his full measure and kicks it long into the centre square. Big fly from the side from O'Brien. Brings it down to the front. Morrison gathers the ball, gives inside the Giath. Handball over the top, finds Bruce. 1-2, back to Giath. Puts the burners on. He's on his left. Steadies. Fires. Misses the lot. No, didn't quite miss the lot. Minor score. Exciting play. Couldn't quite top it off. 3-2-20. Trails 3-5-23. End-to-end stuff there, coast to coast by the Hawks. Couldn't quite kick the goals. 6.5 minutes gone in this second term.
Swans within 5 points up at the Gabba. They've kicked the last 2 after Brisbane kicked the first 3, so ticking towards quarter time there. Hawthorn win it back here at high half forward. Out it comes towards Howe, who snaps the ball across his body, and Ridley gets in front of Bruce. Marks back pocket for Essendon. 3-point lead for the Bombers. It was Hawthorn by 3 at quarter time as Ridley goes long down the city wing. McAvoy goes to the fist. Knocks it down to Cox, who's tackled, dispossessed, holding the ball. Free kick to the Hawks. The tackler, Howe, rewarded. Get it on the city wing. Possession number 8 for Howe. Takes some extra metres and then kicks it deep inside the forward 50. Francis flies, no mark, falls down to Hind. Hand pass away to McGrath, and then Wright kicks off half back.
Strong grab. Oh, no, he didn't quite. Yes, it was paid to hook up. Strong grab. 2v1. He was outnumbered. Hard up against the boundary, just behind centre wing. Just surveying his options, his hook up. Runs his full measure. Kicks it almost to the point of the square, looking for Wright. The ball gets over the back. McAvoy had it and then lost it. Now the Bombers drive it inside 50. Looking for the top of the square, but Phillips playing front man. Took the intercept grab. Kicks it across his goals, finds Shields. He's got the overlap in Hardwick, misses him by hand. Puts him under some pressure. Left hand sweeping handball finds Morrison. He's under pressure. Here come the Dons holding the ball. Hind, the former Saint, does really well pressing up. He gets the free kick, wastes no time, drives it inside 50, looking for Hooker. It's over the back. And the mark taken by Hardigan, the former Crow.
Hooks, he's just got to expect contact. He should know then just to hold his ground. A good defender's going to do that. That's an easy mark, an easy play there from Hardigan. Hooks, he's got to be better.
Hardigan long down the line, scored away by the Bombers, stays inside the field of play. O'Brien grabs it, King holding the ball. Heavy tackle by Laverde. Essendon take it, the advantage through Hind as he kicks inside 50. Hook at the target, slips out the back to Snelling. He kicks the goal. The Bombers have 2 on the bounce. Almost a carbon copy of the McGrath goal from earlier in the quarter. Snapping off a single step. Essendon moves to 4-5-29. Hawthorn 3-2-20. Dons by 9 points. It's their biggest lead of the night. 10 minutes played, second term. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio.
I tell you, the umpires are red hot on the holding the ball at the moment, but I don't mind it, Beach, because it keeps the game flowing. And the other thing I don't mind is Nick Hind off half back. I reckon it's probably not his strong suit. We've always known him as a dasher from a half forward flank, kicking goals. But his offensive run, he's obviously really worked on his craft as a defender. But his ability to break a line and get through, we saw it didn't quite finish his work there, but it gave him a chance. And we saw the nice finish again from Will Snelling.
What's really obvious is Essendon's forward half pressure.
Yes. They've turned it up, haven't they?
Hawthorn, it feels like they can't get it past halfway, and when they look like getting it out and they've got a half a sniff, Essendon have been so good at shutting down their options and stopping that uncontested chain.
McGrath drives it deep inside 50 for the Bombers. They attack again. Off hands at ground level. The handball from Howe just squirted out. Umpire circling. He says, I'll have it here. Bombers doing all the attacking. Up at the Gabba. The Swans trail by 5 points with less than a minute to play. McAvoy taps it down, finds Impey. Impey wheels and kicks it across his goal, looking for Phillips. Coming off half-back, goes Redmond, pushing forward, handballs over the top. Good work here. Finds Jones. Jones to the top of the square. Impey off hands to Gia. Underground handball, finds Phillips. Phillips handball misses the target, puts him under all sorts of pressure. That's Morrison. He does well on all fours. Langford rips it out of his hands, looks for Parrish. It's squirting this way and that way. Jones cracks back in, looking for Langford, and the ball goes out of bounds. Bombers with a lot of pressure, as you alluded to, BJ.
It's almost perceived pressure now.
Yeah. Mishandling it,
So young Morrison there had a chance, double snatched it, then gave Langford a chance to close that space.
Essendon by 9 points. Boundary throw in here forward for the Bombers. About 30 out from their attacking goal. Segler picks it up at his feet, tackled into the ground. We'll have a baller. Neither medical sub used. Tom Cutler starting as the sub for Essendon. Connor Downey for Hawthorn on debut. Downey, an 18-year-old, one of 3 teenagers in tonight for the Hawks. Segler wins the tap. Hooker has the footy. Tankle dispossessed. Phillips. Surge kick, jams it on the boot towards the broadcast wing. Draper can't complete the mark, spills the Bombers' way though. Heppel front and centre, turns and kicks deep, back inside the forward 50. Segler knocks it away. Hawthorn player Hardwick taken high by Smith. So the tackle slips up, he sends it wide to Warple, who marks it half back. Essendon by 9 points, 12 played in the second quarter.
Had the overlap in Phillips, elected not to go there instead, switches play. Kicks it right across his goals, finds Howe. He wastes no time, drives it long outside defensive 50, looking for Impey. Impey left it behind. That brought the Bombers into play. Handball over the top, found Hams. Comes inside, finds Jones. He finds Shields, kicks to the top of the square, looking for Hooker. Can he find him? He does, ends up taking an uncontested chest mark. But it's a very tight, acute angle here for Hooker to put them 15 points up with 12 and a half minutes gone.
You're right, Beach, about that perceived pressure. Jarman Impey, just an easy, uncontested mark, really. Just another turnover.
And I'm not sure if Dill's not Dylan Shield, that is, was renowned for his disposal. I don't think he meant to hit that off the instep of his foot and put that to Hooksy's left side of the advantage, because all the space is here on the fat side. Just probably put it to that space, and Hooksy would have had a better angle than what he does now.
Hook up. Despite the tough angle, makes no mistake on the left boot, just worked it back nicely, thought his way through it, and the Bombers extend their lead. 5-5-35. Plays 3-2-20, 13.5 gone in the second term. And that's Hooker's first goal of the evening here at the Docklands.
It's funny, we can talk about all the offence and how this man on the mark's going to change the game, but really the core of it is
still defence.
Pressure. Still pressure, defence, locked in your forward half, getting second opportunities, re-entries, scoring off re-entries. And now it's at a point, as you made mention, Jarman Imby, there's a perceived pressure from Essendon have against Hawthorn that they're becoming fumbly, and it's really obvious. So, yeah, let's make no mistake. But and that's an area that they know they need to improve. Trucker talk about. I think they've talked about it publicly. You know, talking to a few of the boys so defensively, and that's one of their strengths. I think their forward half. When you look at, I think Hooker, Peter Wright are two good marking players to take marks, and they're pretty valuable assets, those guys, but the smalls around them are really good pressure players.
It's been a long time since we said that about the Bombers. Out they come from the middle again. Shield feeds it to Langford, kicks to Jones, reads it best as Frost goes floating over the front, and Harry Jones takes the mark, 40 metres out, 45-degree angle.
I think what you just spoke about there, Beach, with the two big marking players, they're having an impact for the Bombers, whereas Big Kazitsky and Tim O'Brien for the Hawks, they're probably almost half a kick too far away. They're just not given that content.
Yeah, at this point in time, I used to harp on a lot, particularly with Essendon, my time at Essendon, that we struggled with. When we get hemmed in, those forwards have got to come up and get a kick away.
Oh, Jones.
Harrison.
Everything out to the near side. Where are we, Jones, tonight? So he's up to 7 touches already, 4 and 3. He's 0-1 and has 1 out of bounds on the full, so still looking for his first goal in AFL footy on debut.
Yeah, so Kaczynski and O'Brien here, they need to stay within a kick. They can't expect someone to feed them the ball close to the goals. They've got to read the play here. The players on the ground now got to say, we're under the pump here. We need to be a kick within the play, get all their forwards up. Just get everyone up a kick within the play, and let's get, try and wrestle some of this momentum back and get on an even keel.
Heppel took the intercept mark and then just drove it back to whence it came at ground level. Parrish injects himself, handballs to Tip and Woody. He left it behind, but then he immediately wrapped up Impey, and we'll have a ball up at centre-half forward. And you sometimes see those forwards, Beach, lead away from the ball.
Yeah, just come.
It's an impossible kick.
No, come up. Just everyone be within a kick of the play now.
Looks like we'll have another bounce.
If you're going to have one deep, I reckon, it needs to be a real quick player. Let him challenge the back of the bubble. Don't have it as a big bloke who can't get past the last bloke anyway.
So second ball up. Segler wins the tap, hits it to his defensive hip. On all fours was Giath. Handball to Mitchell. Scramble kick, found Bruce. He went very short to Shields. He kicks short again to O'Brien. And there he was hitting up. Taking a grab at just behind centre wing. Dumps it wide to Hardwick. Right in front of the interchange gates. Surveys his options. Just kicks it long to right half forward. Kaczynski flies. At ground level now, it's all Bombers. And they extract it away. Caldwell's handball missed Smith, I should say. And the ball goes out of bounds. Throw in between wing and half forward for the Hawk, from a Hawks perspective, right in front of us here in the broadcast box. 3-2-20, trails 5-5-35. The Bombers are up by 15 points. They've kicked all the goals this term, 16.5 gone, 17, I should say, in the second term.
Quarter time at the Gabba, Brisbane by 5 over Sydney. We'll keep you up to date throughout the night. And Adelaide beat Geelong by 12. That's right, Adelaide have beaten the Cats at Adelaide Oval.
Is that the biggest upset all year, Coach?
Yes, it's in the book already, Tone. I think it'll hold too, unless North Melbourne do something silly tomorrow against the Power for the boundary throw-in. Mitchell, hand pass over his shoulder, finds Day under the pump, shoots it back into congestion. Essendon win it. On the wing, Caldwell, hand pass away to Heppel. They're out downhill, Essendon. Snelling hits up Jones, marks centre-half forward. Man on the mark, 48 metres out. Short kick to McDonald, Tip and Woody, not 15, said the umpire. They're queuing up inside 50, and Zach Merritt marks uncontested. Closer to home, he's 35 out, just left of centre.
15 touches already. Flying.
Yeah, but Waller's such a good player.
He was so composed, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I liken him to Riola in his day, in the fact that he doesn't have to touch it too many times, especially in that forward 50. You keep him there, and he could have 10 to 12 a game and have a real impact on it.
In comes Zach Merritt, slots it. Essendon all over Hawthorn here.
I'm talking about Cyril too, the one and only.
4 unanswered goals in this second term. They've kicked 6 of the last 7 in the game. They're giving it to the Hawks 18 minutes into the second term. Bombers by 21. It feels more than that. Essendon 6-5-41. Hawthorn 3-2-20.
I reckon the Bombers would be really pleased, and Bomber supporters would be pleased with the start from young Jai Caldwell. I reckon he's found a bit of the footy. He looked really composed. He missed that little handball just out here just a few minutes ago, but other than that, he's won a couple of hard balls. Young Harrison Jones presenting really well at centre-half forward. Just as we spoke about, McDonald, Tip and Woody, just to turn around on your left, no worries, and put it to the best kick in the team. Don't worry about missing with Zachy Merritt.
Yeah, you look at Essendon's midfield now, Caldwell, Merritt, Shield, Draper, there's your midfield for the next 8 to, Gills are a little bit older than the rest of them. There's 3 of them that are going to be there for the next 10 years.
Swans have hit the front at the Gabba, 22-21, early stages. Quick clearance from Warple to centre-half forward, off hands, beautifully roved there by Brockman, flying shot. It's a high up and under, it won't trouble the scorers. In fact, it goes out of bounds on the full. And the grab was taken. Sorry, no, it did go out of bounds on the full, so they're not going to pay the mark to Redmond. So deep in his back pocket, left back pocket is Redmond. Looked laterally, elected to go down the line. Big fly by Draper. Touched the roof in here at the Docklands. Left it behind though. Hines has it, gives it out wide to Heppel. Thought he might have been caught high. Nothing doing. Snelling to Caldwell. Defensive handball. Found McGrath. Then he found Redmond. Oh, they've got numbers on the open side. Here's Cox. Takes the grab. On that right boot, just a long raking kick onto the chest of Tipper. Left it behind though. Gets it on the second grab. Inside he comes with the left boot and finds Merritt, and the Bombers are away.
Merritt goes short to centre half forward, turns it straight over. Almost like he was looking for McAvoy. Marked uncontested, goes short to Phillips. Slowed it down, saw Burgoyne, gives it to him alongside the centre circles. Long to Kajitsky, one out in the cage. Spoil comes from Francis, free kick. It's going Francis's way against Kajitsky.
Wrapped him up.
If you're hearing that name, that's Jacob Kajitsky, 20-year-old on debut.
It's so hard. It's kind of, especially when you get caught behind, I don't think you can just put your arms up to the side and, I don't know, look like a chicken because you're looking for contact. You want contact. So it's not that I don't think he's actually prohibiting from actually going for the ball there at all. It's just a natural instinct to do that.
Kajitsky, the cousin of Justin, kicked 6 in a practice game against North Melbourne. So that's how he ended up with his start here tonight. The Bombers, a short kicking game in the defensive arc, and now Redmond has it. Right on the half-back flank, Essendon by 21, time on second quarter.
Up and under the centre wing, leaving it behind was right. Sterling gathered it, just tapped it to the advantage. The Bombers have got the numbers here if they're good enough. Parrish gives to Heppel, goes to Dylan Shield, breaks the paint, has a shot, makes no mistake, puts the fist up, the Bombers are flying. 7-5-47 plays 3-2-20. Dylan Shield with his second goal, 22 minutes. Chess at the boundary.
It's really hard to believe that this place is only half capacity at the moment. The Dons fans are trying to blow the roof off this stadium at the moment. They're absolutely loving being back at the footy and loving their team putting on a show.
That bit of play right then, Liz, if you were still at Hawthorn, that's getting reviewed on Monday. If you look back, it was a contest. It was a 50-50 ball there for a while. Bit of pressure from Hawthorn, bit of fumbling. But then once Essendon won the ball, they literally left Hawthorn's mids in particular, and Frost even be a defender. He stopped and started walking, left them for dead. I look back, there were 6 guys that were left behind. Hawthorn players, that is. 4 of them were midfielders. And Dill Shields obviously a midfielder, but Dill, they could have played.
He was inside
the parcel to 4 or 5 other Essendon players, midfielders, because they'd run and spread from that contest. So that's the thing that coaches, players, supporters probably don't see it like that, but that'll be brought up during the week, and they'll be filthy about that.
Swans 7 points up. Errol Goulden kicks a goal.
27 points the margin here. Essendon in the middle of the ground as McGrath and Merritt, they've added on a string. Handpass goes back to Langford. Langford gives it to Hind. He's crunched straight away. Bombers at centre half back. Pack forms. Umpire says ball up.
And there's a Brownlow medalist in there too, so that's what it's not. There's no sacred cows here. Tom Mitchell was standing there, didn't, the ball kind of left him, but he just stopped, started walking. So it'll be a good learning curve. And they're the things that Hawthorn have.
Draper whacks it forward. Essendon away again. Smith inside the centre circles. Hits up Peter Wright. It's all against Hawthorn here. The Bombers with 5 in a row. And now 2-metre Peter in his new colours will have a set shot at centre half forward to try and make it 6 on the bounce for Essendon.
Saw a bit of the same then, Beach, unfortunately, didn't we, for the Hawks midfielders. They're getting tested out on their ability to spread both ways. So see whether the big fella can get one for his new club.
Number 20 on his back, Peter Wright. He loved it straight off the boot. It's 6 in a row for Essendon. And every other Bomber on the ground rushes to him and reaches up 2 metres to rub him on the lip. Peter Wright arriving at Essendon. And the Bombers putting on a show under the roof at Docklands. 8-5-53. Hawthorn stuck on 3-2-20. The Dons by 33 points. Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard.
So if you're a Hawthorn supporter sitting at home listening, if you want a solution how they can fix it, the one here on the wing where Dylan Shield kicked the goal is a lot of guys are ball watching, but it was about still being in the moment, and it's a lot about effort. It's still thinking you're a chance to be involved in the play and have an impact when you don't have the ball. And then I think that one there was an early decision. I think Devon Smith came from behind the contest initially, but made an early decision to go forward. But whoever's on him or a closest Hawthorn player, they've got to be making early decisions. A decision that I can't impact that ball, and I'm 5 metres off. What do I do then? In that case, they're standing there ball watching. But you got to either go, am I going forward, or am I going back? Don't stand still and make no decision, because that's the worst thing you can do.
Here come the Bombers again. Devon Smith breaks the paint. He goes bang. The Bombers are flying. The roof's coming down. And look at him get around him too. That's a goal within 5 seconds. That's his first of the evening. And the Bombers, well, it's starting to get a bit messy here. 9-5-59 plays 3-2-20. Hawks haven't scored this quarter. Well, sorry, they scored one solitary behind. 25 gone, second term.
Yeah, you can see young Will Day come off the back of the square there and tried to impact the play with Darcy Parish coming out the front, but Dev Smith, crafty little half forward, knows how to sniff a goal, got out the back, and I haven't seen him miss too many of those where he's just strolling inside 50 beach, and I don't think he was passing, even if a bloke was on his own in the goal square. Loves the goal, Dev.
But I think young Will Day's stuck. I think he's made a decision to come forward because
everyone else has to roll up behind him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a little bit. But then I think Jager's actually let Darcy Parish get goal side him. Yes. And as you know, as a midfielder, particularly centre, that's a cardinal sin. You just can't be doing that. So he's felt like he's had to come forward because Darcy's actually run out the front of the stoppage and Jager's done poor body work. And there, I think he's got one back at him there because he's let himself down the one before.
First touch out the midfield here for O'Meara. Kicks inside 50 to Bruce. Marks plays on. Puts his teammate under the pump. Hand pass to Moore. He's caught. Spun around, holding the ball. Free kick for Essendon and Nick Hind. He's told to go. Pokes his kick out wide to Ridley. Can't complete the mark. The Bombers running on top of the ground here as Ridley goes short to Shield. Not 15, says the umpire. Just kicks a high ball down the wing. Peter Wright reaches for it. Slips over the back to McDonald, Tippenwoody. Hand pass to Cox. Cox 60 out. Looks inside the forward arc. At the back. Reaching for it. No mark. Ham. Hooker's kick smothered. McGrath isn't. He snaps but misses. They are all over the Essendon, just humiliating Hawthorn here in this second quarter. The second term of Hawthorn's season. They're down by 40 points. Essendon have kicked 7 in a row.
Impey with the kick-in duties. Brings it broadcast side of the ground. Looking for Frost. Man in front. Can't take the mark. Good crumb, though, by Mitchell. Gives to Warple by hand. Tries to bring it inside. Turnover City, though. Langford with the ball. No, free kick. Going against Cox. It was high on Hanrahan, Ollie Hanrahan. And it's 52.
50 for what?
No, I'm not sure.
Danny McGrath stuck up for young Cox because he was getting pushed around a little bit. I don't mind that. I think that's all right. Stick up for the young blokes in his first game. Don't let him get pushed around.
Yeah, definitely. And it's easy to do, to give away one when you're 6 up at half-time.
Oh, that's it. I don't think the coach will worry too much about those ones.
So Hanrahan will be lining up from just inside 50, straight in front. Quite a long run up. This will be his 7th possession. Breaks the paint. Slow, steady approach. Fires on goal. Goal umpire doesn't move. Well done. That's the Hawks' 4th and the 1st of this term. 4-2-26 trails 9-6-60. 34-point margin, 28 gone second term.
Well, I think the free kick was there, but I think it's a bit of a gift that Hawthorn so desperately needed at this point in time, because they actually don't look like scoring any other way. So, been terrific from Essendon, but at the same time, Hawthorn have really a lack of effort, intensity, poor decision-making, lack of decision-making. So, at this point in time, it can't be worse for Hawthorn. So, Essendon taking advantage. They do look great, but it's been off the back end of Hawthorn's effort and intensity dropping immensely, particularly around the contest and from the midfielders.
We'll just quickly go around the grounds up to the Gabba. And the Swans have almost doubled Brisbane's score. 6-4-40, plays 3-3-21. 12 and a half minutes left in that second term.
Segler and Draper back in the middle. Segler palms it straight to his teammate who's locked up inside the centre circles. So, Beach, more good Essendon or bad Hawthorn if you had to pick one?
I think it's probably more bad Hawthorn, to be honest.
Draper wins it down. Impey inside the centre circle. Sweeping hand pass out to the wing. Carl onto it for Essendon. Hand pass goes back to Redmond. Feeds it further back to Caldwell. Measures his kick in front of the interchange. And Giath and Snelling compete for it. It slips out of bounds. A throw in alongside the interchange gate.
I'll readdress that because Essendon's start was terrific. So their pressure, intensity, forward half, locking it in, which probably then set up these last 4 or 5 scores and how easy they've come just through that effort intensity, particularly in their front half.
7 goals to 1 for the quarter. Draper wins the tap and then just locks up Phillips. Drills him into the turf for the tackle. A ball up, broadcast wing. Bombers by 34.
The tap went straight down to O'Meara. He gave to Impey. Series of quick handballs, ends up with Giath. Look at him go. Broke a tackle. Gave to O'Meara, who kept running. Now he drives up long in the O'Brien direction. It's a one-on-one. Good defence there by Laverde. Got the fist in, and then Redmond arrived as the cavalry. Immediately wrapped up, though. Umpires circling. Crowd baying for ball. We'll have a ball up. Right half forward for the Hawks. Looking to kick a couple in a row.
Up chucks it up. Draper first hands on it. Heppel. He's wrapped up. Pack forms around him. Umpire gives him a chance to get it out, and it does so. Segler. Hand pass to O'Meara. Off the left peg. Shoots goalward. Misses. 4-3 to 9-6. Essendon by 33 points. 31 played second quarter. At an 8-goal term, Essendon have kicked 7 of them.
So Swans by 25 up at the Gabba. The long kick goes in the Peter Wright direction. Ball gets over the back. Segler doing some crumbing, and then he's wrapped up by Snelling, almost done holding the ball. Gets it out to Mitchell. On all fours is Segler. Plays tunnel ball. Gets it out the back. Only as far as McGrath, who gave to Caldwell. Went defensively to Redmond, and he just hack kicks it forward. Oh, was it on the line? The umpire says it was. I'm not sure.
We've got a review.
Looked out of bounds on the ball from up here.
It's got to be fully over, so if it caught any part of the line. But what do they need to talk to the infield
I'm
umpire
not sure,
for?
but we're going to have a throw in, it seems.
Back yourself in, mate.
So the ball's in between wing and half forward. Broadcast side of the ground. Ball's thrown in. Segler's working for front spot. Draper just worries him out of it. Handball's inside, looking for Heppel. Misses the target, but he's got time. Gives to Carl. Kicks long. Inside 50. Ball gets over the back. He was looking for Hooker. Missed him. Tippin Woody's there. On all fours, taps it inside. Finds Hooker. Back to Tippin Woody. Goes defensively again to Langford. Left foot kick on goal. Frost ball takes the mark on his chest. Inside his own defensive goal square. Frost has the ball and clears it with a nice kick, finding O'Meara.
O'Meara plays on immediately in the bright green boots as he kicks beyond halfway. O'Brien, 2-on-1. Francis crashes into his teammate Laverde. Double-fisted, whacks the ball 3 rows back. What a collision.
I think the concussion Ooh, sub is coming.
Francis in one direction, O'Brien and Laverde.
Oh, no, that's tough.
Running back the other way. Francis got contact with the footy. Some friendly fire as he took out his teammate as much as he did O'Brien. Boundary throwing on the wing. Everybody gets up. Segler soccers it further forward. Makes 25 metres up, says deliberate.
Come off.
They've been red hot on that too.
Ruckman.
Thursday night, you could hear the mic, so you hear him go, "That pay deliberate."
Yeah.
Laverde received the handball, looked for 2 metre Peter. Free kick of an arm chop, Liz.
Arm chop. Undersized.
So 2 metre Peter has the ball just forward to centre wing. Wastes no time, drives it inside 50. Hooker's there, Langford's there. Hooker almost takes the mark, butters up. Immediately wrapped up, squirts the handball out to Langford. He's got options, left, right. Oh, everyone laid off him. Left foot, tipping Woody on the chest, unmarked. He'll line up from 15 out, right in front. Looking to kick his second goal as the siren goes to mark the half. This is to give him a 39-point lead. And to kick their 8th goal of the quarter.
There was enough numbers there from Hawthorn to apply pressure to Langford, so Mitchell made a decision to peel off because there was a receiver, but I think it was Shield then got caught up in two minds whether to go to receiver or go to Langford, which just gave him enough time to get that kick off.
In comes Tippin Woody. Loves it. That's his second. The Bombers are dominant here at the Docklands. 10-6-66, plays 4-3-27. That quarter went for 33 and a half minutes. And it was an 8-goal-to-1 second term to see the Bombers skip out to a 39-point lead.
So the goal kicker, Shields kicked 2, McDonald, Tippin Woody 2, and then singles to McGrath, Smith, Merritt, Wright and Hooker, Snelling the other. That gives you an idea on the spread for Essendon tonight. The games are obviously longer this year than they were last year, but to put it in some sort of context, Essendon in their 17 games last year, they didn't kick 66 points in 13 of them. Only once they'd kicked 66 points to three-quarter time. They've done it in a half a footy here. 10-6-66. They lead Hawthorn 4-3-27. And that'll put a smile on a lot of Essendon supporters' faces to kick 8 goals in the second quarter. 8-1 against the Hawks and blow the game wide open. It is a 39-point lead for the Bombers. They've got a real pep in their step as they jog off down the race at half-time. The ground's half full. They're making plenty of noise. It's predominantly an Essendon crowd, their home game. And a big round of applause for the Bombers as they make their way off the playing arena. First game out of the full-time tutelage of Ben Rutten. And the Bombers by 39 at the half. Hawthorn just 1 goal in that term. Morrison, Hanrahan, Segler and Brockman have the goals for the Hawks. At the half, it is 39 points Essendon's way. Up at the Gabba, Sydney lead Brisbane by 13. It's been a weird old start to the season, as is often the case. Adelaide beat Geelong by 12 points at Adelaide Oval. And Melbourne beat Fremantle as the Dockers' injury woes continued or worsened. Alex Pearce with a knee complaint, Joel Hamling with an ankle problem. The Demons by 22 points over Freo. More of all of that later, but Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard are here to pull apart that first half of footy. A jaw-dropping performance by the Bombers in that second quarter to blow this game apart. They lead by 39 at the half. What do we make of it?
Oh, I can't believe how slick the Bombers have been. But as you said, how bad is it Hawthorn versus how good Essendon? I'm going the positive side. I think this is Essendon and their pressure. I think you were alluding to that as well, Bees, that their ability to keep it in their front half and just get constant turnovers. The keys for Hawthorn, I think, we spoke about, they're probably been a little bit too far away, but they just can't get it over that. Centre-half back, you'd probably say, for Essendon. They can't get it past, and they're not getting a chance to lock it in their forward 50, whereas Essendon keep it in their front half, and then they're just reaping the rewards on the back of that. And their work rate by their midfielders, especially, I think, Beach, Essendon I'm talking about, Caldwell, Shield, Merritt, McGrath. These guys they've given a little lesson early on in the season as to spread from stoppage, and the Hawks boys have been found wanting a little bit going the other way.
That was the thing I noticed just calling, and take us into it. As we were calling, Essendon just getting out in waves from stoppage, seeing blokes getting involved 1, 2, 3 times in the passages of play.
It's kind of easy when you got momentum, but it's to make early decisions, especially for Essendon when they have confidence, they feel like they're going to win every contest, 50-50 ball to make early decisions. But then, again, Hawthorn has still got a decision to make. And in terms of their effort too, which I said, Essendon kind of set that kind of middle part up of that quarter with the first 10 minutes of it, just the pressure. Then we talked about perceived pressure. But Hawthorn has still got to make a decision. Because we weren't questioning Hawthorn's effort and intensity in that first 10 minutes. It was just that Essendon's pressure was so good that they just couldn't get that uncontested chain, particularly out of their back half, and then get it past halfway to have a chance of scoring. So we didn't question their effort, but then that was obvious after the first 15 minutes. The Essendon just ground them away, and then it was just like we kind of put up the white flag. It's a little bit too hard because Essendon's pressure is just too much at the minute.
Yeah.
And then you saw the midfielders wanting and a bit of their backs struggling to find their opponents, and then the lack of decision making, I'd probably say, if you sum it up, because there wasn't a decision, offensively, defensively for Hawthorn. So it was terrific. It doesn't take any talent. That's what I love about Essendon. They're young. They've obviously lost a couple of pretty important players, but effort, intensity, pressure, defensive side of the game doesn't take any real talent. It's a mindset. It's something that's been obviously coached. It's obvious they've been focusing on it. And talking to a few of the boys, that's an area that Truck's big on, coming from the Richmond side of it. And Richmond's premiership, legacy now was set up by their defence in their first premiership year 4 years ago. So it'll be a cornerstone to the game. And, the hard thing now would just be to continue to just keep doing it,
week in, week out, quarter by quarter. See how they come out this quarter, whether it's, it's when it's ingrained in them. Maintain the rage.
And it'll be evident every week that this is the identity of Essendon, but it's a terrific start to the season, and it was evident in their warm-up game too, let's be honest.
It was against the Cats.
Pre-season game against the Cats.
Yep.
So it was one of the lowest scoring games of the pre-season competition, but that was on the back end, I think, of Essendon's intent and their pressure around the ball and in the forward half.
We saw the spark that Port Adelaide got after those 3 first-round picks. Essendon have picks 8, 9 and 10 walk into the club, and the energy I think that gives Essendon, and a lot had been made about the guys that had left, and the culture was questioned around the trade period. They didn't really have Fantasia or Danaher anyway. They hadn't been on the park. Sard's a big loss, yes. And they've been able to find a bunch of new roles for guys. So Hines playing off half-back, Ned Carl's playing down there, Heppel. So they've redesigned these roles. And you touched on it during the call, Beach. The forward line all of a sudden looks dynamic. They've got the key pillars in Wright and Jones. The small forwards have always been good. Guys like McDonald, Tip and Woody elite at what he does in the competition. And so all of a sudden now it makes more sense to see it in action, and they kick 8 goals in a quarter, which is unheard of for an Essendon team.
And I don't want to excite all the Essendon supporters because they're still young, so they're going to have moments like this where brilliance, and then they're going to be exposed at times. I talked about at the start of the first quarter, the start of the game, but Essendon's defence looks vulnerable. Hep's back there, which I've always said I thought was a great move.
Yep.
But they're lacking experience, so they're going to be vulnerable at times. But if they're able to continue to apply that forward half pressure, it's going to make the defender's job a lot easier. So it's actually, not kind of disrespecting. They're going to make them look even better.
Yep.
In a sense, and make their vulnerabilities or teams' ability to expose their vulnerabilities a chance of doing that or less. So which I think it's an intent from Rutten to say I think this is where our strength is. And I think it's a bit of Richmond too, because they identified that they had speed in the front half, good pressure players, Castagna, Butler at the time. It's like, let's kind of build around this, and then all of a sudden, the defence obviously shone as well. So let's take nothing away from them. But I think it was
good
built,
system. There's no doubt.
The cornerstone and the foundation of Richmond's legacy now was built off defence,
pressure, manic.
Yeah,
get it on,
particularly in their front half.
Yeah.
So it's a good starting point for Essendon. So I don't want to get everyone excited. This is the expectation every week now. And how Essendon supporters can get carried away. There's a couple of us in this room.
What are you talking about?
I know. Corby's got a Cheshire Cat grin. Heppel, 16 possessions, 4 grabs, 8 of those contested. He's looked pretty good.
Yep.
Cross half back, solid, calming.
Yeah, I think he's Ridley's 4 years in now.
Yep.
The one I'm surprised about, and in the pre-season, was that Laverde going down back. So predominantly played as a forward for all his junior career, then come into Essendon. I was being there, and he's kind of had the attributes as a key forward, but he respectfully just lacked that, I guess, that smart as a key forward. As a key forward as a forward, just to find his position in that lineup. So it's a little bit easier down back, as we know as players, to go down there and have the whole game in front of you. So it was a brave move, I think, and he's taking O'Brien, which is at the minute Hawthorn's key and most dangerous forward. So he's doing a terrific job.
It's the voice of Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio, Tony Armstrong, and I'm Corbin Middlemash, Jess Webster on the boundary. It's half-time and Essendon lead by 39 points. They kick 8 goals to 1 in that second quarter. 6 minutes on the game clock before half-time up at the Gabba. Sydney lead Brisbane by a point. Joe Danaher has kicked 2 for his new team. He's also had a minor incident which he may cop a fine for from the match review officer, but not expecting him to miss weeks for making contact essentially with a player behind him, throwing the arm back similar to Asprey back on Thursday night. So Sydney by a point there over Brisbane. Earlier today, Adelaide by 12 over Geelong. That's the Crows beating the Cats. And Melbourne beat Fremantle by 22. It's halftime here at Docklands. Let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Authorities are warning the torrential rain hitting Sydney could continue for days, with flood concerns for people living in the Hawkesbury and Nepean areas. Josh Bavis reports.
The official word is that this could go on for several more days, even up until Thursday. Authorities are conducting a number of scenario cases for modelling, anywhere between a 1 in 5 year event up to a 1 in 20 year event. This significant system began impacting the Central Coast and then began moving towards Greater Sydney and has largely remained stationary up until now, so that has authorities concerned. Residents in low-lying areas are being told to prepare their belongings in case evacuation orders are given.
A parliamentarian in Papua New Guinea has died from COVID-19 as cases continue to soar in the country. PNG correspondent Natalie Whiting reports.
Richard Mendani, the member for Kerema, a seat on PNG's south coast, has died from COVID-19. The MP had been on a ventilator in the ICU of a private hospital in Port Moresby before his death last night. It comes as cases of COVID-19 in the country continue to surge. PNG recorded its highest daily increase in cases yesterday, with 295 new infections recorded. It brings the cumulative total to 3,085. The number of cases has tripled in the past month. New restrictions to try to limit movement and gatherings in the country will come into force on Monday.
India has become the latest country to record a new surge in coronavirus cases. Indian authorities reported nearly 41,000 new cases in the past day, the biggest daily jump in nearly 4 months. More than half of the infections are in the richest state and the national economic backbone of Maharashtra. The Health Ministry says the deaths rose by 188 to a total of more than 159,000 since the start of the pandemic. India is the world's third worst affected country after United States and Brazil. Brazil's also experiencing a new surge in infections and deaths. Australian Trade Minister Dan Tehan has expressed gratitude to the United States for its support in ongoing trade disputes between Canberra and Beijing. Top Chinese and American officials publicly clashed during their first face-to-face meeting between the two sides since President Joe Biden took office. During a tense exchange that was caught on camera, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken rebuked China for using economic coercion against American allies. China has imposed a range of sanctions on Australian products over the past year. Mr. Tehan says the US support is reassuring.
The Americans have come out and said that they've got our back and they won't leave us alone on the playing field. We want all the help and support that we can get to fix these trade disputes that we've got with China, and I thank the US government for their support.
US President Joe Biden's appealing for unity and an end to racism after 8 people, including 6 women of Asian descent, were shot dead in the state of Georgia this week. Mr. Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris met with Asian American community leaders in Georgia in the wake of the deadly shootings. Civil rights advocates are speculating the killings were motivated in part by rising anti-Asian sentiment, but Mr. Biden says racism has no place in modern America.
I said from the beginning of my campaign for president that we needed to come together, that we needed to unite as one people, one nation, one America. And I believe with every fiber on my being, there are simply some core values and beliefs that should bring us together as Americans.
A person has died after contracting a rare mosquito-borne virus on the Tiwi Islands in the top end. Jono Gibson has more.
Northern Territory health authorities have issued a warning after a person contracted a mosquito-borne virus in the community of Warramyunga early last month and recently passed away. It's a suspected case of Murray Valley encephalitis or Kunjun virus. Both can cause fever, headaches and in rare cases death. NT Health says there have been no further cases, but that this time of year is a high transmission risk. NT Health is urging top-end residents and visitors, especially on the Tiwi Islands where the annual football grand final is being held tomorrow, to cover up and use insect repellent.
Authorities are investigating a shark incident in the popular West Australian surfing region of Margaret River. A shark bit a paddler's board at Yellingup Mainbreak surfing spot at Yellingup this afternoon. A 1.5-metre shark was spotted in the area around the same time. There are no reports of any injuries. This is ABC News.
To watch the latest stories from ABC News and clips from our current affairs shows online, it's time to go direct to the source. Australia's most reliable news can be found on ABC Radio, the ABC News app and the ABC News website. Download the free app now and stay across local breaking stories, updates and analysis from Australia's most trusted news. What matters to you matters to us, and it's all on the ABC News app and news.abc.net.au.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
The throw-in, Wright works his way to the front, pushes it in front of Langford, takes on the tackler, hand pass to Caldwell, goes back by hand to Wright, short kick, not 15 to McGrath, who snaps off a single step and banks it through. Hardigan long down the line, scored away by the Bombers, stays inside the field of play. O'Brien grabs it, King holding the ball. Heavy tackle by Laverde. Essendon take it, the advantage through Hind as he kicks inside 50, hook at the target, slips up the back to Snelling, he kicks the goal. The Bombers have two on the bounce.
Leaving it behind was Wright. Snelling gathered it, just tapped it to the advantage. The Bombers have got the numbers here if they're good enough. Parrish gives to Heppel, goes to Dylan Shield, breaks the paint, has a shot, makes no mistake, puts the fist up, the Bombers are flying. Here come the Bombers again. Devon Smith breaks the paint. He goes bang! The Bombers are flying! The roof's coming down. And look at him get around him too. That's a goal within 5 seconds.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
It's half-time at Docklands. Essendon by 39 points, 8 goals to 1. In the second quarter, they've smacked Hawthorn square in the mouth, and it's a wide margin at the half. We're almost at half-time up in Brisbane. Sydney by a point over Brisbane. It's 8-4-52. The Lions 8-3-51. Joe Danaher's kicked a couple. Lions kicked the first 3 goals of the game. Sydney kicked the next 7. Brisbane then kicked the next 4. So game of runs at the moment up in Brisbane. Danaher with 2 goals on club debut for Brisbane. Now, earlier today, there's a heap happening in the AFL. The Crows caused a hell of a boil over to beat Geelong, last year's grand finalists. Adelaide 15-13 beat Geelong 13-13. Massive win for the Crows by 12 points. Tex Walker had 4 to half-time. Patrick Dangerfield involved in an incident that'll be looked at by the MRO, choosing to bump and left Jake Kelly concussed. It was an inadvertent clash of heads, but we've seen players rubbed out for that in the past. Luke Brown also hurt his ankle. The medical sub was made by the Cats as well, with Menengola hurting his shoulder. And Constable coming into the game. There's a heap to pull apart there. We'll be on air tomorrow, Grandstand AFL Sunday from 12 noon. Brett Delidio will be back with me then. And Lauren Arnell, who's actually calling the game at the moment between the Lions and the Swans. So we'll have all the angles covered tomorrow from 12 noon Australian Eastern Daylight Time on Grandstand AFL Sunday. Earlier in the day, Melbourne beat Fremantle by 22 points. And that was not a good result for the Dockers. They had some more injury concerns, with Pearce hurting his knee and Hamling hurting his ankle. AFLW action today. The Brisbane Lions keep on winning. They're top of the table. They beat North Melbourne by 15 points. Collingwood by 46 over St Kilda. And a low-scoring affair down at GMHBA Stadium. 2-4 to 1-3, a 7-point win for the Giants over Geelong. There's 3 games to come tomorrow. Corbin Middlemass alongside Tony Armstrong, our number 1 picks, Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard. What was the number? Over 600 games between the two of them. And Jess Webster's on the boundary. We might just go down to Jess. Of course, the medical subs have been all the talk in round 1. Jess, have we had a medical sub yet so far tonight?
Not yet. The medical subs have not been activated, but I did notice the Bombers doctors checking out the vision of the Laverde contest just prior to the halftime break, potentially concerned about maybe a delayed concussion, but he looks right to go, so that's good news for Bombers fans.
We're going right through as well tonight until 10:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The SMS number, if you want to chuck a question to Brett Delidio or Brendan Goddard, you can even throw one Tony's way. He's happy to answer it. The SMS number is 0437 774 774. That's 0437 774 774. Laverde to start on the ground this second half.
We're all going to expect Hawthorn to respond, aren't we? So
I expect it.
Yeah, so this is where a mature side, I guess a sign of signs to come for Essendon is how they then, pick up from that first half. Is it the same intent? Is it the same focus of what they had been? You mightn't get the same results because, as I said, Hawthorn are going to respond. But the interesting one for me right now is how Essendon comes out in the second half.
Tap straight down to Shield. Handballs and finds McGrath. The Bombers starting off strong. His kick inside 50. A bit of a stinker, though. Intercept mark taken by Hardwick. Looks to access the corridor. Almost turns it over. Misses McAvoy, but the ball gets through the back. Here's Impey. Picks it up off the deck and gives to Mitchell. Has a bounce. Gives it back to Impey, who's running hard. His handball inside, though. No good. Brings the Bombers into it. McGrath, good tackle on Mitchell. The scoop handball defensively from O'Meara was good, though. Found Hardwick. Drives a long one looking for Segler. Can't take the mark. Offhand, here's Laverde. Gives to Heppel. Gives to Merritt. And the Bombers rebound.
Short kick to Braden Ham, who's beefed up a bit over the off-season as well. Goes out wide to Merritt. And half-back, and he retreats back to Nick Hind. 39 points, Essendon's lead. Hind, who was an Essendon VFL member before being drafted to the Saints. Back at Tullamarine as he goes long down the wing. Nice mark to right, played on quickly. Heppel gives it to Cox. His hand pass ends up in the hands of Chenga with Giath, who's got it for Hawthorn. The 1-2 with Moore. Giath eventually finds Phillips, then to Mitchell under pressure. Coughs it up by hand. Cox away to McGrath. All by hand on that outer wing. Eventually through right. He goes back to Ham, kicks to half forward. Knocked on by Smith and then Cox, and the Hawks win it back. Moore flares it out further wide of Hawthorn through Hanrahan on the outer wing.
Well, Bruce has gotten out the back. The kick's good. Takes it on the second grab, but he's held up on the mark. Waiting for numbers to get back there. O'Brien provides a lead. Nothing really doing. He's got the overlap with him now. Uses that. It's Shields. He goes inside 50. It's a brilliant kick. Finding O'Brien. Lost his man. Uncontested mark. 20 out right in front.
It was a great kick in the end. There was a bit of overlap handball. Shield, Bruce, a couple of experience, but Aaron Francis again losing his feet because they did have a 2v1. So it was a good lead across his body. I wouldn't teach that to a young fella, that lead to that player right across his body, but it was a great kick. But there was a decision earlier. Hind got caught ball watching when, again, on an older experienced player like Bruce, and he got out the back there while Hind was ball watching.
In comes O'Brien. Loves it off the boot. First goal of the second half goes to the Hawks. That's a much-needed goal for them. 10-6-66 plays 5-3-33. The Bombers are 33 points up, 2.5 minutes into the third term. That's O'Brien's first goal of the evening.
You're right, Tone. It wasn't a much-needed goal. That's the start they would have wanted, the Hawks. But that was an unbelievable kick there from Liam Shields. But just questioning the forward movement there from the big boys. It was reasonably well defended, but as you said, Aaron Francis lost his footing and gave Timmy O'Brien a nice free run at it. But again, it was that slingshot almost off half-back, wasn't it, that where the Hawks they're generating most of their scores from. So they can start to get some centre bounce and some clearance numbers going. I think they'll get back into this game.
10-6 to 5-3, 3 minutes into the third term. Bombers by 33. Half-time at the Gabba, scores level between Brisbane and Sydney. Back in the middle. Hawthorn again, a clean takeaway. McAvoy down to O'Meara, hands it to Mitchell, kicks to centre half forward. The key names involved, no mark, spills down to Langford of the Bombers. Hand pass over his shoulder to McGrath, who's been everywhere again tonight. Kicks out to half-back, wanted Ridley. Nice work, Kazitsky. Spoils it into the path of Howe, kicks inside 50. The juggled effort for Hanrahan, mark not paid. Gives it back to Kazitsky under the pump. His hand pass a turnover. McGrath back pocket, drilled into the ground. Chase down tackle is good. Umpire says ball up. A bit of a push and shove afterwards as well with Dylan Moore who laid the tackle. And a ball up around 40 metres out from the Hawks goal, 3 metres in from the boundary line.
Draper v McAvoy. Comes down to Moore, shrugs a tackle, gives the handball to Mitchell. He dumps one defensively to Shields. Now Howe has it, kicks it long to the top of the square. The pack forms. Second, third grab, can't quite take it. Moore tries to get the high, draws the high contact, and he'll be lining up from the top of the square to kick 2 in the space of a couple of minutes for the Hawks.
You just see that perceived pressure that Essendon have applied earlier in this game. Young Dan Howe's just turned around and absolutely banged the big McAvoy. He's just standing about 20-30 out by himself.
In he comes, makes no mistake, Moore. 2 in a couple of minutes for the Hawks. There's a bit of life in this one yet. 5 minutes in, it's 6-3-39, trailing 10-6-66.
Well, here's a response from Hawthorn. So their intent's gone up, their pressure there to keep it inside their 50. Looked like Essendon was out as a bit of a hospital pass from Andy McGrath coming out of defence, but they gave themselves a chance just through that pressure, and then Fortuitous kind of kick at the top of the square, but they get a free kick out of it. There's a response that now it's, you'd say the momentum's with Hawthorn, so how are Essendon going to respond though? You know, easy to get on the end of it when they had all the momentum in that second quarter and kicked 8 goals, but now they're going to have to make decisions to get the momentum back on an even keel and then hopefully get it their way. But I'm really keen to see how they respond for a young team.
Off the SMS, g'day Darren from Devonport in Tasmania. Will Dangerfield get suspended? It didn't look deliberate. Unfortunately, Darren, if you choose to bump, it's essentially the choice, and you're culpable for the damage based on the precedents that we've seen. So not looking good for Dangerfield by all reports. Essendon win one out the centre. Merritt's hand pass finds Draper, the big fella on the run, shakes the kick. Misses everything.
Big running banana, the big fella.
That's true.
Thought he was dusty.
That's his second, yeah, that's right.
They changed that score, Essendon, by 27 points.
Just a little inside out off the inset kick, that one, mate.
At full
drop
pay.
punt, yeah, but he's tried to the check side on 2 occasions.
Silk Burgoyne brings it back in, runs his full measure. Kicks it long, looking for Segler, but it's gone out on bounds on the full. Boundary line beat everyone. And Hind will bring it back into play for the Bombers. Just walks into the field of play. Eventually takes on the man on the mark. That's Segler. This way, that way. He's trying to lower his eyes. Eventually just kicks it long. It's all Bombers here. At ground level, Langford can't take clean possession. And Morrison gave defensively to Howe, who then kicked across his goals. And here's Phillips, the former Pie. He chips it over the top and finds Impey. Impey just starts galloping away. Kicks down the line. The kick is good. Finds Moore. Moore just wheels and goes looking for O'Brien. He rises off hands. Here's Bruce. He loves this situation. He's got numbers forward. And he finds one of them in Brockman. He takes the mark 5 metres in from the boundary in the right forward pocket for the Hawks.
Would you say Luke Bruce is one of the best front and square players of the modern game that you've seen? His ability to turn up and get there and just read it straight off the hands is as good as any.
In comes Brockman. He loves it.
Wow.
Both hands straight up in the air. That's his second. And the Hawks have kicked 3 inside 7.5 minutes in this third term. You said they'd bounce, Beach, and they have. 10-6-66, play 7-3-45.
And again, it was just ball movement from the back half.
Yep.
And that was actually a deep turnover, had a chance. They got the switch. Hawthorn actually double switched it back, and then Essendon looked comfortable behind the ball, but I think there's a lack of communication between Hind and Laverty, who had one, I can't remember, it was O'Brien, actually. No, it was higher up the ground, I forget who it was, sorry, but they had him pinned. There's a lack of communication just to call Hind back that would easily have taken care of that player. So, again, just a little bit vulnerable down the fence, and Hawthorn, you know, different team, isn't it? So In the first quarter, they did look dangerous from that sling shot from the back half, and they're doing that again. So it's on Essendon to set up the ground better earlier when the ball does go inside 50, make early decisions to find their man, get in aggressive positions, but definitely a different looking Hawthorn team in this third quarter. 37
disposals to 20 in the quarter so far. Draper wins the tap, but again the Hawks with the centre break. Warple by hand to Shields. He goes out further wide to O'Meara. Back to Warple. Short kick to Mitchell. Bounces off McDonald, Tip and Woody. Says play on. Here's Burgoyne, clever. Slaps it out in the direction of Mitchell. The Hawks a chance still on the wing. Floats one to O'Meara. Slips the Langford tackle. Hand pass to Burgoyne. He goes back to Segler. Misses him by hand. Invites the Bombers in. Right away to Parrish. To Draper. Hand pass to McDonald, Tip and Woody. Vacant goal square. Needs the bounce. Won't get it. It curves to the left and goes through for a behind. Essendon's first score of the second half. Hawks with the momentum. Essendon 10-7. Hawthorn 7-3. Essendon by 22. 9 played third term.
Hardwick misses his target in Impey. The ball ended up going to midfield though, and then Impey just unloads with a torp. Going long, looking for Kaczynski. Can't take the grab. Off hands. Here's Francis wrapped up. The Hawks are hunting here. Shields gives the ball over to Brockman on the left. Goes to the top of the square. O'Brien's there. Over the back. Here's Moore. Over the back, here's Moore. Goal! Unchecked, unguarded. That's his second for the quarter. And the Hawks have kicked 4 on the bounce. 8-3, 51 plays, 10-7, 67. We're back to within 16 points with 10 minutes played in this third term.
Well, it's been a momentum game here, Beach. I think there we saw the Hawks mids and half forwards being able to outnumber at the contest. That's as you spoke about before. When you're up and about, it's very easy to run and keep running forward, but when it's going against you, can you keep turning up? But yeah, nice little kick inside from Brockman, and young Dylan Moore had a quiet first half. He's managed to kick 2 goals here in the start of the third.
There's probably 2 decisions. Francis, it wasn't really a decision, but just his kind of lack of awareness. Let that ball spill out here on that wing. Yeah, just at least hold it in. If you get caught holding the ball, then at least you've got time to get back. And then it was actually Mason Redmond who came off young Dylan Moore there to try and influence that contest when Hep, I think, had his opponent beat, or at least to make a contest, and he didn't influence it. His man ended up staying on the ground and kicking the goal.
4 in a row for the Hawks, but a free kick for a throw. Mitchell penalised. Essendon with the centre clearance. Parrish drives it deep. Giath floats her in front of the pack, takes the mark. 15 metres out from his defensive goal line. If I just remind you, the last time these two teams met, it was Essendon, who trailed by 36 at half-time. They came with a rush in the second half. That game played at Adelaide Oval midweek last year, of course, in 2020. Led by Joe Danaher, the Bombers came from behind to pull off a massive second-half upset and a big turnaround in the game. The Hawks' kick-outs turned over. Merritt at centre-half forward. Short kick. He was tackled as he got his kick away. Turns it over again. McAvoy to Shields. Away to Day by hand. Floats it out further wide to Morrison. He kicks laterally, and Hanrahan takes the mark at left half-back. Essendon by 16. They did lead by as many as 39.
Hanrahan plays on. Just gallivanted away. Pretty lackadaisical. Came off the instep and is turned over. Langford now. It's a 4-on-1 if the Bombers are good enough. Caldwell gives it to Ham. He then goes long inside 50. It favours Hardigan. He drops a chest mark though, and he brings Tip and Woody into play. Oh, they're all over his back. His umpire circling. He's going to be pinged. That's holding the ball. Just when they had all the momentum, he drops a chest mark, Hardigan, and then lays an egg on the footy. Free kick goes to Jones, and this is a great opportunity to kick his first goal in AFL.
We'll start with the drop mark. That shouldn't have happened. Arguably in the back. And then I'm not sure what the umpire expects him to do when the ball's actually below his crutch between his legs.
And the Essendon player's got his hand on it.
And he's keeping the ball in, young Harrison Jones.
Smart.
Or under Hardigan.
So in comes Harry Jones. We've liked some of the things he's done today. This evening, I should say. Fires on goal. Hates it. Absolutely hates it. Pushed it out to the right. Minor score. 10-8, 68. Plays 8-3, 51. 13 gone. Third term.
Playing on from the kick-out Day, then decided to go short. Finds Chenga with Giath, takes the mark at centre-half back. Hand pass back to Day, feeds it further forward to Jagger O'Meara. Works it out wide to Warple. The Hawks up over halfway now. Short kick to Moore. City wing. Short again by foot. Brockman, who's got a couple on debut. Back to Moore, feeds a hand pass out wide to Phillips. 55 half forward. Kicks to the top of the goal. Morrison! Harry Morrison in from the side, takes the mark, top of the goal square. 5 in a row coming up for the Hawks.
Different team. Essendon, different team.
Yeah.
It's
Truck's looking for a timeout here, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to bring him in.
Morrison from right in front. Pops it straight through for his second. Momentum has well and truly swung. And the Hawks rolling downhill at the moment. Essendon's lead cut to just 9. 10-8-68. Hawthorn 9-3-57. 15 played in the third.
So the question is, how are Essendon going to respond to this? What are the leaders doing? What's Hep saying to the defenders? The message getting passed down the field? What are the coaches saying? All this pre-season work, a shorter pre-season too, which probably minimised their ability to actually practice these scenarios and what they do in these scenarios. But there's something has to change just to slow it down. Let's not get caught into this slingshot kind of footy because we're losing this battle at the minute. So let's play a bit of kick mark. Let's not trying to counteract it with speed and how we our one wood as such. Let's go to our more safety net to play a kick mark, slow it down, get the speed out of the game because it's clearly working for Hawthorn at the minute.
Bounce is good. McAvoy tapped it down, then gathered his own tap. Hat kick forward, only made it to centre-half forward. It's in dispute. McGrath injects himself, rips it out, wrenches it out even. Then Hat kicks it forward. We're still inside the centre square. A couple of Hawks leave it behind. Parrish, he was tackled. Don't reckon he made contact there. McAvoy left it behind. It's a hot footy. Howe has it. Gets it out. Good work here by the Hawks. This is good footy. A nice 1-2 there with Day. Eventually, though, wrapped up. It's gone up a notch. Caldwell, the tackler, inside the centre circle. Misses his target, though. He's looking for McGrath. 50-50 ball to be won. Well done by Cox. Missed by hand, though, looking for McGrath. Puts him under the pump. He's good enough to get it back to Francis, and he'll drive it inside 50.
So here's Hine for the Bombers. Kicks it to the hot spot. Impey. Strong defensive grab. Forwards coming at the footy behind him, and Impey for the Hawks. Rebounds out to Phillips.
Bit of fill your boots here, I think, from Essendon. That last contest in the middle of the ground, they all got past the footy, and Hawthorn players, 3 or 4 of them, and midfielders, I whacked them in the second quarter, but they all stayed around the ball, didn't leave the contest.
The Hawks back down the wing, and they've run out of room as Phillips put under the pump, and their hand passes over the boundary line. So Essendon forced the neutral ball, a throw-in left half forward for the Dons. 5 in a row for Hawthorn. Essendon desperately need a circuit breaker here. A boundary throw-in, 55 out from their attacking goal.
Working a front spot was right. Eventually drove it inside 50. Frost tried to take him on like a rugby league prop. Didn't get done holding the ball. The Hawks maintain composure through Mitchell. He kicks it out wide, looking for his mate in Warple. He takes the mark, hooks it back inside, looking for O'Meara. Ball spoiled. At ground level, though, Mitchell's followed up. Handballs forward again, misses the target a little bit. Morrison was all over it, left it behind. Now it's been dragged back in under him. About 5 players around this ball. The umpire comes over and says, I'll have it here. It was Hanrahan, I should have said. So I'll have a ball up in between the centre and centre-half forward for the Hawks.
Essendon by 11. The Hawks have kicked the last 5 after the Bombers led by 39 at the half. From the stoppage, Carl had it, lost it, dispossessed. Now Caldwell slips over with the footy. Cox at centre-half back, still with Essendon. There's a free kick coming back. Caldwell was taken high as he slipped in the tackle. Free kick going against Warple, so still with the Bombers. Hawthorn 5 unanswered goals in this third term. Corbin Middlemass and Tony Armstrong calling the footy. Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard in the experts chair. And then downstairs, Jess Webster on the boundary. 18 minutes into the third. Game on here at Docklands. Essendon cut back through the middle. Caldwell's kick is horrific. Turns it straight over to Day. He gives it straight back by foot. Heppel in the middle of the ground, floats one to half forward for the Dons.
Pretty ugly footy at the moment. That was a high up and under. Dropping a chest mark was McAvoy on the point of the square. Couple of Hawks players leave it behind. Now the ball squirts out in the Howard direction. He can't find the handle. There's been a free kick though. Pulled out behind the play. It's going to go to McGrath. So the Bombers a chance to reload. McGrath brings it in towards the centre of the ground. Finds Heppel. He finds Hind by foot. Just inside the centre square. Centre half forward. He kicks it high up and under, looking to the top of the square. Hardigan v right. Ball gets over the back. Hardwick's there. Worried over the line. Minor score. Rush behind. So 10-9-69 plays 9-3-57. 12 points is the margin. We've played 19 minutes in this third term.
Second half about beginning. Brisbane scores level there. 52 points each of 2 between Brisbane and Sydney. But it's all happening here under the roof at Docklands. Essendon by 12. Hardwick strolls out from the kick-out, drives it right up alongside the centre circles. Heppel and McAvoy slide in, the 2 skippers. Comes out Essendon's way. Caldwell hands it to Hind. High up and under the centre half forward. McAvoy goes the punch. Sits up here for Snelling. His hand pass back into dispute. Jumping on top of the footy, Jones ushers it out, but straight to Howe. He gives it to Frost. Long kick for Hawthorn out to the city wing. Brockman and Langford, they tangle looking for the footy. It just pitches inside the boundary line, and in the end, Langford lays a heavy tackle to help the Hawk over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in. Right on halfway, city side of the ground. It was O'Brien tackled with the footy, and a boundary throw in here as we tick into time on in the third term. Dons by 12.
In comes the ball. McAvoy taps down to Phillips. He left it behind. Yeah, just a hat kick off the ground. Going forward there for the Bombers to left half forward. Intercepted though. And now here come the Hawks. Running, carrying. Giath. Long kick inside 50, but it's all Bombers. Ridley's there. Got the fist, but down to ground level. Oh, could he bob up again? Missed the goal. Hanrahan missed his foot. And now the Bombers look to reload through Ridley.
The crowd involved. It's rocking inside the dome here tonight as Ridley kicks down the wing to Harry Jones. The next big thing in the forward 50 for the Bombers to replace Danaher. He's given us a bit of early Joe tonight with some errant kicking. A couple of behinds, one out in the fall. He's still looking for his first goal. Meanwhile, Joe in his new colours with a couple of goals for Brisbane up at the Gabba. Here's Caldwell, goes inside 50. He turns it over by foot. Hands it straight back to Day at centre half back. Segler free in the middle. Hawthorn a chance on the counter-attack. Segler turns, looks deep. Hanrahan's all alone and takes the mark. 25 out right in front. Slingshot footy for the Hawks.
Jai Caldwell, the last couple of touches he's had when he's gone to kick, he's just, yeah, unfortunately, he's trying to kick it a little bit too hard at the moment, I reckon. Just needs to ease off and just make sure it gets to his target. Will Day's reading it like a book. He's kicked it to him twice, I reckon, but good work by the big ruckman there to swing around and get it to young Ollie Hanrahan. Lining up for another one.
Hanrahan, awful off the boot. Slides up the side of his boot, and it's marked in front of the behind post by O'Brien. He tries to straighten up to Phillips. He snaps and goals. They went the long way around the mountain, but they got there. Hawthorn make it 6 in a row. And Essendon's lead come to a straight kick. Tom Phillips with his first goal in the brown and gold stripes. 22 played into the third term. Hawthorn 10-3-63. Essendon 10-9-69. Brennan Goddard, Brett Delidio, Grandstand AFL.
Well, I think that's a sign of a young team there. So as good as Essendon were in the first half, but really poor decisions or no decision here when the ball got turned over in the back half. To find, literally, it was a training drill. The kick out of the back half to find Segler, to find young Hanrahan. And then a skew kick, only leaving Jaden Laverty and O'Brien literally on the goal line. And then they got away with it because the ball was touched, but it was just compounding effect of really poor decisions from Essendon.
Back in the middle. Essendon need to find something. Shields gives to Warple. Warple kicks inside 50. Chest mark dropped. Bombers look to rebound. That was Carl in the Tipperwoody direction, just tapping it to his advantage. One tap, two tap. Hardwick, though, eventually got it. Giac took him on, but he was wrapped up, turned it over. Parrish has hooker, kicks to advantage. Great defensive work, though, by Frost. Left his man. Fisted the ball 20 metres back. Minor score. 10-10-70 plays 10-3-63. 7 points the margin, 24 gone.
The Bombers kicked 8 goals in the second quarter. They've kicked 4 behinds in this term. Hawthorn, 6 unanswered goals. Day on the kick out. Short to McAvoy. Hands it back to Day. Comes out wide with his kick. Finds Moore, who marks at half back. He's got 2 goals in the term, Dylan Moore. Long kick up beyond halfway. Segler out to meet it. Leads Draper to the footy. Marks in front of the interchange gates. Essendon by 7 points. Segler out to half forward with a long kick and a nice mark. Bruce hugging it to his chest.
That was a miss kick, wasn't it, Leach?
Oh, yeah. Places out, the big fella would say.
Both teams have had their moments by foot tonight.
What's he going to do? He's going to book him?
He's going to take on the man on the mark who's been told to stand. Bruce from 52 out, drives it goalward, taken on the line. And a kick over his head from Dylan Moore. He's kicked 3 in the term. The Bombers weren't able to kill it last line of defence, and Moore sharks the foot. He snaps it over his shoulder. That's 7 in a row for Hawthorn.
Again, like what's
inexperienced,
poor decisions. Yeah, you play it out. You don't.
I think we're speaking about how good they've been having those guys they're trialing down there. Young Nick Heim with his dash, Laverde, who's obviously having another crack at it. But you're going to have these moments, I think, where they're going to be, they're going to have stuff ups, and that's just what it is. They're learning a new system under Truck full time. We got some great moments in that second quarter. They kick 8 goals, but now we've seen the other end of the stick.
The other end of the spectrum, isn't it? It's crazy. And the lack of decision making and stuff for Essendon is really evident at the minute. That's what you just got to play that out. Nick Hine's got a fine body. You just don't expect someone else to punch it or get it over the line. Just play it out.
Here come the Hawks again. Segler with a clearance inside forward 50. The ball's now in dispute. Left half forward for the Hawks. Bombers are trying to get it out. Good work there by McGrath. Gets it to Hahn, puts the Jets on. Tackled though. Ham tries to wheel. Gives to Smith. Now they're away through Merritt. Has a bounce. Look at the wheels go. Impey, great chase. Beautiful kick though from Merritt. Pulled it at the last moment and found Parrish at centre half forward. He'll be lining up. And the Bombers need this as a settler.
Lids, how's this for a number? The inside 50s, Essendon 16-12 in the quarter.
Yeah.
Despite the fact Hawthorn have had 50 more disposals and have kicked 7 unanswered goals.
Crazy.
That's incredible.
16-11 Essendon's way, is it?
16-12 Essendon.
Totally. And that you want to know an example at home if you're able to watch that vision. That's why you get the ball in good ball users' hands. He didn't really have anything else because Hawthorn had set up really well behind the ball.
Parrish, they need this one. He strikes, and it's good. Well, it took them until the 27th minute, but Darcy Parrish kicks the Bombers' first goal of the second half. 11-10-76 plays 11-3-69. 27 gone, third term.
Hawthorn had really done nothing wrong there. It was just brilliant. Vision, brilliant ball use, and composure from Zach Merritt in that instance.
That's incredible.
What a kick.
Hawthorn had set up really well, and young Jath, unfortunately, that's where you got to know the guy with the ball. You got to read the play and say, this guy's capable of hitting my man here, even though he's reading the play and doing probably what 80% of blokes would do, because he's going to have to kick this long. But Junior Merritt just having the ability there is outstanding.
That was really special. Running away
at
full pace.
Impey putting the pressure on.
Clever.
How good is it to have footy back? Fans in the stands. Scores level up in Brisbane in the third quarter, and here at 7 the difference in a game with wild momentum swings. Hawthorn take it out the middle. O'Meara's quick kick forward cut off. And Hind takes the mark centre half back for the Dons. The Dome rocking tonight, only 25 to 28,000 in. That'll be a talking point on Monday, I'm sure, as well, with the low crowd at the G today. The Bombers wanted to move this game. Yet a number of people missed out on coming back to the AFL this weekend. Shield marks the short kick and then goes long down the wing. Hawks win it on the coalface. Here's Moore. Hand pass to Mitchell. Moore back with it. Hands it further forward to Impey right on halfway. Kicks to half forward. Bouncing footy out to meet it. Laverde fumbles. Hawks win it again. 60 out half forward. Hanrahan hands it to Mitchell. Kicks inside 50. Kaczynski plays on. Hands it to Bruce, who bangs it up into the second deck. A 1-point game here at Docklands. The 8th of the quarter for the Hawks. 29 played in the third. Essendon 11-10-76. Hawthorne to 12-3-75. 1 point, Essendon's lead.
It's turning into a shootout.
Isn't it? Good to watch. You like high scoring.
Yeah, coaches will be pulling their hair out.
Coaches won't rate it. I'll tell you what I was impressed with is young Jacob Kaczynski had a chance to kick his first goal, but he hands it off to a player and it makes an absolute surety of it, with someone in the goal square. Really good from a young bloke, but...
a bit of a mistake from Laverde there, the fumble, hit the chest. You gather that they're away, Essendon, or at least the ball's not going back over for a score.
Because he had the position too.
With everything else in front of him, with momentum running forward, so...
Back in the middle of the Docklands. It's a 1-point game. Latter stages of the third term. O'Meara left it behind Merritt. Tried to get it out to Draper, missed the target. Good play there by Morrison. Gives it inside to find Shields. He runs his full measure and drives the Hawks into attack again. Big fly! Can't come down with it though as O'Brien at ground level. High. Can't quite make out who to Ridley. It's a high tackle to Ridley and the Bombers breathe a sigh of relief.
The best and fairest winner from last year, the Crichton medalist in Ridley, who goes long to Draper, in from the side. Segler whacks it out of bounds. A throw in on halfway. Dons by 1, half-hour mark, third term. Sydney Swans lead the Lions by 6 points. Up in Brisbane, 13 minutes to go in the third. Restart here on the wing. Bombers by 1. Segler's hand pass ended up in Essendon hands. Snelling gives it to McDonald, Tipperwoody. His hand pass picked off. Bottom of the deck, Hawthorne trying to work it out through Moore. Here's Morrison, got the hand pass, feeds it back to Mitchell. Quick hands to Burgoyne. Another hand pass back to Morrison. Hooks it across the body. Langford the only one there. Marks defensive side of the wing for Essendon. Bombers by a point. It's three-quarter time. One hell of a Saturday night to start. Wow, the new AFL season. The Bombers kicked 8 goals to 1 in the second quarter to lead by 39 at the half. Hawthorne came out, went bang, 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 kicked 7 goals in 25 minutes to get themselves within a point. They both traded goals to end the quarter, and it's 8 goals to 1 in the third, Hawthorne's way. Essendon by 1 at three-quarter time. The Bombers 11-10-76, Hawthorne 12-3-75. A wild night under the roof. 2 for Shield, 2 for McDonald, Tip and Woody. 1 each for McGrath, Parrish, Smith, Merritt, Wright, Hooker and Snelling. While for Hawthorne, 2 for Harry, Morrison, 2 for Brockman, 3 for Dylan Moore. They all came in that third quarter. He's the leading goal kicker on the ground. 1 each to Hanrahan, Segler, Phillips, Bruce and O'Brien. Three-quarter time under the roof at Docklands. Essendon by 1 on ABC Radio Sport, digital and streamed through the AFL app. This is Grandstand AFL.
When history is made.
It's all over. India have won. India have won magnificently.
ABC Sport is there.
He's over the halfway line. Mansour coming. Game, set, bingo. Premiership.
Commercial free.
The Tigers are still the best team in the land. 3 flags in 4 years for Richmond.
ABC Sport. On radio, online and on the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Kaczynski can't take the grab off hands. Here's Francis wrapped up. The Hawks are hunting here. Shields gives the ball over to Brockman on the left. Goes to the top of the square. O'Brien's there. Over the back. Here's Moore. Over the back. Here's Moore. Goal!
Hanrahan. Awful off the boot. Slides up the side of his boot and it's marked in front of the behind post by O'Brien. He tries to straighten up to Phillips. He snaps and goals. They went the long way around the mountain, but they got there. Impey right on halfway. Kicks to half forward. Bouncing footy out to meet it. Laverde fumbles. Hawks win it again. 60 out half forward. Hanrahan hands it to Mitchell. Kicks inside 50. Kaczynski plays on. Hands it to Bruce, who bangs it up into the second deck.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
It's three-quarter time. It is Saturday of round one in the new AFL Premiership season. There is a boatload of talking points. Melbourne by 22 over Freo. Adelaide by 12 points over Geelong. Patrick Dangerfield facing a suspension after his bump on Jake Kelly left the Crow concussed. So more on that in the postscript. Up in Brisbane, it's the Sydney Swans who are leading the Lions there. So that margin out to 13 points the Swans' way. But in front of us, we got a humdinger under the roof. Two arch rivals, Essendon and Hawthorn. An 8-goal second quarter for the Bombers, an 8-goal third quarter for the Hawks. And it's just a point the difference at three-quarter time. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio with their take through three quarters here.
Well, I don't think we predicted that. We thought that Hawthorn would respond. It was all about how Essendon, and a complete flip of the, on the other side of it, 8-1, like, kidding me? Like, and second rate, made Essendon look second rate. I thought they got a little bit ahead of themselves. The old feel the boots getting forward to the contest when they actually hadn't won it, so the ball was 50-50. So there's expectation based on the first half and what they did in the second quarter that we're going to win this, we're going to get the end of it. And credit to Hawthorn, they stayed in the contest. The quarter from Mitchell.
Wow.
Was it Morrison as well?
More.
Sorry.
3 goals, 14 touches.
3 and 14, but just their mids were... Like, it was evident that Hawthorn's midfielders are staying in the contest a bit more. There was more of an effort, intention around the ball, but it definitely helped, like in the second quarter, that when the opposition were as poor as what Essendon were, Hawthorn put them to the sword because there was going to be a response. Tipping Clarko would have sprayed the team based on their effort and intensity in that second quarter, and in particular the mids. That's why I'm highlighting Hawthorn's mids, because they do have some great players in there. Brownlow medalists, as we know, experience with Shield and Amira. So there's no real excuses in there, but it was a terrific effort from Hawthorn in that third quarter.
The Bombers did have their chances, though. They're leading the inside 50 count and some gettable shots on goal. But
it still didn't feel like that?
No, it didn't, because it was just an avalanche going forward, wasn't it, from Hawthorn? But one of those goals goes through, and it sort of stems the flow a little bit, lets you get back to the centre of the ground, and you can restart. But when you're constantly missing, and then we see him waltz out of it. I think it was Giath and Day coming out of half back there from the fullback almost, and just all the way down the ground, and ends up in another inside 50.
Well, we looked at each other, Lids. I think it was Hardwick doing a kick in, and it was like he was walking.
That's right.
Like 15 metres.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that wouldn't have happened in the first two quarters, would it?
No.
There would have been someone who made the decision to
go,
I'm taking the space off of him.
Yeah.
But you look behind the ball, and there was 5 Essendon players just within 10 metres of him, just like...
It was like at training, when you walk back to reset and you're just walking back and kicking the ball back in. It was...
So just that mindset, and I'm sure that the message would have been the same from Truck and the coaching group. But the players still have a choice to make. And it's a little bit of, we're a little bit of a header. So, and it's not a conscious thing, don't get me wrong. But I think people sitting at home, and some experts think that it's a conscious decision by players that, we get ahead of ourselves and we're going all right here. But there's just that is confidence that it was just going to happen again.
Once momentum changes, though, that's when you've got to really put in that hard...
Well, the momentum's taken away at half-time, isn't it?
Yes,
because
exactly.
we're starting again.
We've got a break,
So that's why it's always important, and I think more experienced players understand that, and it's like, no, we're starting again. Don't worry about, everything that happened and what we did and how poor Hawthorn were. We're resetting here. We're going again at the start of this third. So, again, interesting to see how Essendon responds. Again, we get a break. There's no momentum here. It's on a level playing field.
It's the Swans by 18 points at the Gabba. It's a 1-point margin here at the Docklands. The Bombers by 1. Here's Corby.
Free kick in the middle for a push. 8-goal quarter for the Bombers in the second, 8-goal quarter for the Hawks in the third, and a point the difference into the last. Draper hands it behind, goes long up the pipe, right crashes the pack. McDonald Tipperwoody wins it, hands it to Shield, out to Smith, snaps one goalward, needs the bounce, doesn't get it. A behind for Essendon, 11-11 to 12-3. 30 seconds into the last. Dons by 2.
Day with the ball, with the kick-in duties. Just a short one. Finds Hardwick, about a 30-metre kick. Hardwick back off his mark, called to play on, and does. Kicks long down the line to centre wing. The pack formed off hands. Cox is worrying Phillips out of it. Defensive handball found Warple, who kicks long down the line. Francis in the box seat. He rises and takes a good intercept mark at right half-back for the Bombers. 11-11-77 plays 12-3-75. Great kicking by the Hawks, really keeping them in this one. Early stages of the final term. Short 45 kick inside. Finds Parrish from Francis. Continues the ball on the same line and finds Ham. Just inside the centre square. Not much doing, so just dumps a short one. And finds Ridley.
So Ridley on the wing puts the Bombers up over halfway. McDonald, Tip and Woody marks. 60 out right, half forward. Just lays it up to the hot spot. At the drop, Jones trying to take it around his bootlaces unsuccessfully. Pack forms 15 out from the Essendon goal. Umpire circles. Wright holds it in on the bottom. Ump says, I'll have it. I'll head to Jess in a moment, who's on the boundary for us. The medical subs, of course. Yet to see one so far tonight. We'll see if there's any action down there on the bench. Here's O'Meara. Wrapped up straight away. Throws it out. The ball comes back to him. Jams it on the boot. Clears defensive 50. Merritt onto it. He's been big again tonight. Possession 27. Kicks inside 50. Jones grabs it. The 20-year-old on debut, Harry Jones, with another mark inside the forward arc. Can he finish his work this time?
Sorry, Corbs. He's done a couple of really nice things tonight with his hands and his jump at it. I just hope that he can finish it off tonight. He's left his kicking boots at home. There's no doubt about that. But this is the hardest one he's probably had. So more than likely he'll jag this.
5 in from the boundary line on his left-hand side. Skips in. Shoots from 40 out. He's left it left. 3 behinds and 1 out in the full. The 20-year-old on debut, the young key forward. Harry Jones. Essendon's lead out to 3.
Likely type, isn't he?
He is. You like that one?
Oh, it's just so overused.
Swans by 23 at the Gabba. 3 points the margin here. You had a grin on your face before you hit that beach. Silk brings it in. Kick it to the centre of the ground. Redmond off hands. Gives it to Ridley. They've swept it from one side of the ground to the other by hand. Heppel went back to Ridley. Still by hand now. Out wide to Tip and Woody. They've gone from one side of the ground to the other. Tipper has it. By foot. Comes back inside and finds Redmond. Could have gone. Elected not to. Oh, he's... Wasn't called to play on.
He didn't move. What's young Brockman thinking there?
Yeah. And Brockman has given away a 50.
I thought he did move.
Did he?
It looked a bit like Redmond took a step.
I thought he was moving east-west.
Oh, geez, Harley.
Redmond has a chance.
But you're not taking any chances these days, are you?
And this is the standard mark rule, so the ump didn't call play on, and by the rule, and until the ump yells it, that's how it should be. That's how it should be officiated.
And comes Mason Redmond, strikes it, willing it to come back, doesn't quite enough. Left it out, hung it out to the right, minor score. So Bombers poor kicking now. 11-13-79, plays 12-3-75. 4 points the margin. 4 minutes gone in the final term.
Yeah, 9 more scoring shots, lead the game by 4. Essendon.
Ooh, that had a bit of venom in that one, Corbs.
0-3 for the quarter. The Bombers, as Morrison marks the kick out. Long down the wing. Francis floats through, takes the intercept mark on the wing. I haven't forgotten about Jess on the boundary, but this ball has just been in continuous motion here as Francis kicks to the hot spot. Whacked away by Frost. Sits up for Ham. High up and under. Back to the hot spot. They come from all directions. Spills down underneath Snelling. Tries to stand up with it. McAvoy tackles him. Day ends up with it for the Hawks. Hands it to Frost. Mitchell tumbles his kick out wide. Segler. The 10-metre radius from anyone else. His hand pass is poor. Put Moore under the pump. Goes back to Morrison. Hand pass back to Moore. Back to Segler. He's happy to see it out. Boundary throw-in. On the broadcast wing, Jess Webster downstairs.
No major injury concerns for either side as it stands. Both medical subs did do a little bit of a warm-up and a run through at the three-quarter time break to stay warm. Now you have to feel for Connor Downey on the bench. He's radiating a lot of nervous energy. You can tell how badly he wants to get out there. Incredible game to debut in. It's almost cruel that he hasn't actually set foot on the field.
McGrath drives the Bombers inside 50. Burgoyne underneath it. Ball gets over the back. Now it's a foot race. Right v Frost. Frost too quick. And now off he goes. He explodes. Gives the ball to Burgoyne. He goes back to Day. Calm heads prevail. And the kick finds Impey at left half back.
The sub is really unusual, isn't it? The more you think about it, it's not like the sub back in the day where you wait for a strategic move. The only chance you're getting on is if someone gets hurt. So I imagine you're not barracking for that surely as a player, but it's your only chance to get involved in the game.
Intercept mark taken by Cox off the Impey kick. So the Bombers look to reload. They're up by 4, 6.5 gone. Topsy-turvy game here at the Docklands. It's all the Hawks here. Over the back, Hardwick gathers the ball, gives to Morrison. Now he's got Mitchell on if the kick's good. The Hawks are away, it is. Thinks about playing on. Doesn't. Just a short 45, finds Warple. He's got players on inside if he wants them. Elects not to. Comes back, skinny side. Looking for more. Free kick. Who's it going to go to? Goes to Segler. So Segler has the ball just forward of halfway. Kicks it long inside 50. It's going to land about 45 out. Kaczynski flies, can't come down with it. Puts pressure on though. Squirts it out. Looking for Bruce. First go, he gets it in the back. Bruce. And he'll have a shot to put the Hawks in front, Corbs. I saw you throw the water bottle in disgust. Bruce will be lining up from a 45-degree angle, about 45 out. I've been waiting for someone to say that.
I thought that Big Draper was copying Big BT there. He's gone straight at the umpire. He was giving him the old fish shake. He looked a little bit aggressive, but
the original tackle was perfect. It's just his momentum going forward.
Here comes Bruce, normally a pretty good shot on goal. Just hangs it out to the left. Minor score. Paul kicking this quarter, 12-4-76, trails 11-13-79. 8 minutes gone. The Swans by 30 points at the Gabba, 14-6, plays 9-6.
That's a bad kick out, almost a turnover for the Bombers. McGrath races after the loose footy. Says play on. Caldwell picks it up off the deck, works its way through to Hind, cuts through traffic, gives it to Merritt, floats a hand pass for Essendon down the wing. Caldwell attacks the footy incredibly hard, picks it up. Ball comes out, volleyball spiked forward by the Hawks. Draper whacks it back in the other direction. Hawthorne back onto it. Mitchell to O'Meara. Sweeping hand pass to Hardwick. He goes back by hand to Burgoyne. Short kick to Morrison. Marks in front of the interchange. Essendon by 3 points. In this quarter, the Bombers have kicked 3 behinds. Hawthorne have kicked 1. We've travelled almost 9 minutes. Morrison cuts back inside the middle of Docklands, finds Will Day. Swings it to half forward. Segler collides with Cox in the air. Free kick for Segler. Front on contact. He's got an attacking edge of the centre square. Looks inside the forward arc. Hits up and honours the lead of Luke Bruce. Marks up left half forward, 45-degree angle.
That was a nice little kick there from the big fella. They are good mates, so you'd expect that it was going. There's a bit like Mitch Duncan and Tom Hawks at Geelong.
One of just 4 premiership players in for the Hawks. Luke Bruce misses. He's second behind of the night. He's got 1-2 from 3 scoring shots. Hawthorne within a couple of points. 12-5 to 11-13. It's the Bombers by 2. 9.5 played final term. Up in Brisbane, I don't know what on earth's going on there. It's the Swans who lead the Lions by 23 in the final term.
I picked that. Snelling with the ball at right half back. Brings it inside, finds Hind.
Just a correction on that. 4 minutes to go in the third, so late third quarter there. They're a little behind us.
Bombers holding on to possession here, working it from one side of the Docklands to the other. Through Ridley and now in the hands of Francis. Left half back for the Bombers. Very slow play. Pulls the trigger on the inside kick. Drop mark there by Carl. And now that brings the Hawks into it. Here goes Segler. He's got to bring Snow down with that. The ball's gone high, up and under. Francis rises, can't take the mark. Butters up there. It did Redmond. Thought he might have been held without it. Howe went in. Tried to get it forward. And then Carl again. Tried to kick the short one. No good. Morrison intercept. Now looking for Phillips. He rises, can't take the mark at ground level. Merritt gets it out to Laverde. Now to Parrish. Back to Merritt. He's got to trap this ball. He does. He's clean. But he's wrapped up in a tackle. Turns it over. Phillips gets it forward. He's spun in a tackle. It's a hot footy. Laverde does well. Gets it to Merritt. And the Bombers rebound.
Here's Carroll to make up for his earlier error, and pinpoint pass hits up Langford, who marks on the wing. 2-point lead for Essendon, 11 travelled final term. Neither medical sub used, no injury concerns. Langford long kick to half forward. Giath in from the side, brings it to ground and wins possession. Floats a hand pass for Hawthorn to Will Day up against the boundary line City side. Defensive side of the wing, kicks up into the front half. McAvoy and Draper fly, no mark. Spills down to the bootlaces of McAvoy. Ball pinballs around there. Eventually it's Bruce. Collects the footy. Hand pass to McAvoy. Feeds it back to Burgoyne. The experienced heads for the Hawks. Comes out to the fat side for Howe in plenty of room. Goes long, top of the goal square. More the target. Getting back. Great spoil. Knocking it through for the behind Laverde. And we got a 1-point game all of a sudden. 11 and a half played final term. Essendon's lead cut to 1.
So both teams are out on their feet because there has been in that game. We've mentioned it numerous times in the first 3.5 quarters about it being a bit of circle work. So both teams are out on their feet, so plenty of mistakes.
Great work on the mark there by Moore. Affects the turnover. At ground level now. It's a chaos ball. Burgoyne can't find the handle. Gets it back off a tap. Blind turn. Gives it inside to O'Meara. Great tackle coming from Ham. Turns it over and Hine exits the defensive 50, but it's only gone as far as Day. And the Hawks can reload. Inside he comes. Looking for Giath. Can't take the mark. Gets it back though. And he takes him on. Has a run. Almost too far. Gives it to Shields. He kicks to the top of the square. Brewster's there looking for it to go over the back. Kaczynski can't take it on the second grab. Coming across the front, there's Carr. Taps it out in front of McGrath. He picks it up. Handballs it outside defensive 50. It's a hot footy. Hardwick loses his man. Gets it back to O'Meara, and now Burgoyne has the ball.
Burgoyne just wrong foots Merritt. Looks inside the forward 50. Great pass. Moore just touched in front of him by Ham. Soccers it to Bruce. Advantage. Quick kick on the outside of the boot. Straight to Laverde. Marks in the defensive goal square. The Bombers back playing goalkeeper. We had 9 goals in the second quarter. 9 goals in the third. We've travelled 13 minutes here without a goal. Essendon by a point. Final quarter action. Long kick from Ridley. Out to right. He's sitting on the footy. Umpire circles. Calls play on. The Hawks usher it out the back door. Howe's getting tackled. McGrath soccers it off the deck down the wing. Out to meet it Shields. Tackled dispossessed. Frost goes back to Segler, to Mitchell. He kicks all the way back. And Hardigan marks at half back for the Hawks.
35 points the margin at the Gabba. We've got an absolute ding-dong battle here. 1 point the margin. The Hawks looking to attack through Phillips on centre wing. He kicks forward and finds O'Brien in a ton of space. He wheels and kicks long to the top of the square. McAvoy behind. Big boy. McAvoy takes the mark. Oh, that's good footy by the Hawks. And McAvoy has the chance to put the Hawks 5 points up.
Got a feel for young Hine there. Out of his weight division. Chasing back.
It was a really poor decision by Aaron Francis to actually leave O'Brien there. I'm not sure. He's trying to predict that he's going to come back inside on the 45 and he's going to kind of clean up, intercept the mark, but he's left O'Brien just to run boundary, and there wasn't anything obvious inside 45.
In comes McAvoy. The Hawks are in front. 5 points the margin. McAvoy's first and the first goal of the final term. 11-13-79 the Bombers. 13-6-84 the Hawks. 14 and a half gone. Final term.
I think that being the first goal, and we're nearly 15 minutes into this quarter, is pretty indicative of how this last quarter's gone. The game's been played between the arcs.
Yep.
A lot of turnovers. Guys are out on their feet. The team that just... Neither team are actually just taking some time and composure just to, get the game on their terms. That's where it's out, because the coaches, the runners haven't had a chance to get out there.
Yes.
Because there hasn't been any scores or any breaks in play. So it's on the players to identify the situation in the game, how it's evolving, and then know what to do at that particular time.
Very hard when you get a mark, though, and there's 30 metres in front of you. You're just like, wow,
just go.
What am I supposed to do here? I can't just stand here.
Yeah. And both teams then can't transition, so one team's getting stuck in the defensive half and it's going so fast they can't get back forward to actually provide an option for their team.
Hawks lead for the first time since the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. 18 goals later, they win it out the middle here. O'Meara, hand pass to Howe, long kick, top of the goal square for the Hawks. Big spoil from Francis. Parrish grabs it, he's wrapped up, dispossessed. Footy sits on the turf, centre half forward for the Hawks. Mitchell off the bottom of the pack. Hand pass shoots out. Snap goal was Kazitsky on debut. He misses. Jacob Kazitsky still looking for his first snag. It's out to the left. Hawks by 7 points. 6 points. 13-7 to 11-13. 6-point lead for the Hawks. 16 played in the fourth.
Ridley just meanders out of his defensive goal square, kicks long in the Draper direction, but he pushed his man out. Pushed out Changwa Jaya. He's going to play on. Takes on Draper. Knows he's got the overlap. Gives it to Mitchell. He kicks long inside 50. Big fly at the back from O'Brien. The fist came in the direction of Warple. Gives it, don't argue. He's got Howe on out wide if he can see him. He does, but he misses the target. Howe in a mountain of space. Defensive handball to Frost. Goes to the top of the square. Big fly. Oh, leaving it behind was Kazitsky. It's over the back now. Phillips has it. He's got options everywhere. Kazitsky again breaks the tackle. Now gets it out to Brockman. He can't quite have a shot on goal. Redmond gets it out. Finds Heppel. And Heppel takes a deep breath. Gets it to Jones. Harry Jones takes a nice relieving mark.
Last time they met, Essendon won with a 52-point turnaround, down 6 goals at half-time to win by 16. Hawks trailed by 39 here, early stages, third term. They now lead by 6 points, 17 minutes into the final term. As the kick ends up with Heppel, he comes out to Smith, to Langford, hand pass away to Hind. Long kick inside 50, Draper! The experienced ruckman McAvoy at one end, and big Sammy Draper for the Bombers, drifting forward, clunking it at the other. A chance to answer back for the Bombers.
I'd love to see him go for the big checky here like he has done the last couple.
This could do anything. This could miss the whole set. This could fly through like a wounded duck. This could
be beautiful too.
And it could be beautiful. I said anything.
They were 10-6, so they've kicked 1-7 for their last 8 set shots. And now big Sam Draper with Tommy Bellchambers number 2 on his back this year. He moves in and kicks a pivotal goal.
He's a legend.
Locks it up at 85 points apiece. 18 played final term. Essendon moved to 12-13-85. Hawthorn 13-7-85. 18 played in the last. Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard, Grandstand AFL.
They finally got through, but when we first looked up and Heppel won this ball, I made mention, if you remember, a couple of minutes ago about one team just haven't been able to transition them forward because they've been stuck in their defensive half, and that's Essendon. And then as we looked up, they had no one forward when Heppel won that ball because everyone is in the defensive half of Hawthorn because it's being played there. But because the boys are so tired, they then don't have the energy and the ball's going so fast to actually get forward of the play to provide an option. So it was good that it actually was slowed down by Hep. You know, captain of the footy club, I don't know if he identified the situation, but it played out that way, and then they were able to get players forward of the ball, and then big Sammy Draper just snuck forward and took a good grab.
A 39-point swing, scores a level at the Docklands, and perhaps a bit of momentum shift back to the Bombers. It's been all the Hawks since the half. McGrath gives to Shield. Dylan Shield runs his full measure. High up and under kick inside 50. Ball gets over the back. It's all the Bombers, but the boundary line beats them all. Hooker was running onto the ball. And the ball goes out. Deep left forward pocket for the Bombers. Scores level, 19.5 gone.
Up in Brisbane, it's three-quarter time, and the Sydney Swans lead the Brisbane Lions by 41 points. The Swans have kicked over 100 points through 3 quarters. There's a bit to pull apart there. Danaher, he's up in Brisbane. Draper wins the tap for Essendon. Freudian slip, absolutely. O'Meara out of defensive 50 for the Hawks, and Segler takes the mark at half back. Segler for the Hawks, not a great kick. Turns it straight over. Smith takes the intercept mark for Essendon. Broadcast wing, scores level. 20 minutes now travelled in this final term. In the game, Essendon have led by as many as 39. Kicks to the hot spot. Front and centre. Spills to McDonald, tip and Woody. Hand pass back inboard. Howe leans in, collects Draper high, looks straight at the ump. The ump was blindsided. And now calls for a stoppage. 45 metres out, left half forward for Essendon. Scores level, 21 played in the last.
Draper wins the tap looking for Smith. The ball bounced straight back to him. Yeah, immediately wrapped up by O'Meara and McAvoy. So we'll do all again from the same spot. Ben Rutten down on the boundary line now, mustering his troops. Draper misses the ball. Now Day has it, gets it out. By hand to O'Meara, just shoveled it forward. Good work though, the ball came off the front of the pack and Morrison gathered it cleanly. Just kicks it inside 50, looking to put the pressure on Francis. He's got to gather this ball. He's got to deal with a couple of unlikely suspects. Gets it out to Ridley. And now Hine tries to put the Jets on, doesn't have the Jets.
Hold on.
The ball goes out. Good pressure by Kazitsky. We'll go down to the boundary.
The atmosphere down here, guys, is absolutely insane. Half capacity stadium and you wouldn't know it. It's just amazing. Footy is back and it's just so great to be down here.
One of the best rivalries in the game, Essendon and Hawthorn, the two titans of the 80s. And producing another classic here tonight to go in the catalogue. From the boundary throw in, Shields hand pass, comes back to him, whack back to Shields, hand pass to Mitchell, centre half forward, kicks right to the goal line and Ridley helps it through. A rush behind for the Hawks, it's enough to give them the lead again. Hawthorn by 1, time on final term, 22 minutes played in the last. Just repeating three-quarter time at the Gabba, the Sydney Swans lead the Brisbane Lions by 41.
Long kick in, looking for and finding Hooker. He wastes no time, plays on, misses Shield with the handball. But he's good enough to gather, gets it back by hand to Heppel, back to Shield. He's all in a phone booth on centre wing. His long kick inside 50, over the back. Misreading it was Impey. Oh, could have been a holding the man. It was. No, it's been called a throw. It's been called a throw against Frost. And it's going to go to Devon Smith. I don't reckon he's passing it.
No.
15 metres in from the boundary, left half forward.
Absolute Monty that he's shooting for goal. It was Blake Hardwick who scooped it out the back to try and get it going back his way. But Anthony McDonald, Tim and Woody could probably find himself a little bit unlucky not to be held onto there.
In comes Devon Smith. Likes it off the boot. Is it going to come back? It is! Listen to the crowd roar. The Bombers are up by 5. 13-13, 91, plays 13-8, 86. That's Devon Smith's second goal of the evening. We played 23 minutes. Seesawing affair, 5 points the margin.
Confidence in Dev then. He's a good kick for goals.
Yeah, beautiful.
And he loves one, so he was never looking anywhere else but the two big sticks. So good finish. A little bit lucky there. Dill Shield just
bombed it.
He had a little bit of time, but lack of composure, bombed it into actually a 3v1 Hawthorn's way, and Jamie Impey just misjudged the ball, which allowed the smalls of Essendon to get to work.
Logan McDonald with 3 on debut up in Brisbane. But a massive kick for Dylan Shield here in the context of the game. Returns Essendon to the front. 5-point advantage. Second lead change in the final quarter. Have a listen to that. Only half full inside Docklands. Predominantly an Essendon crowd, and the Bombers wrestle back the advantage. Shield first possession in the middle. A hand pass off his backside went straight to Day. Kicks it up to halfway. Warple's hand pass over to Shields. Shields for the Hawks. Kicks to the top of the goal square. The kid's got it. Jacob Kaczynski on debut takes the mark.
O'Brien. I'd know if it's Kaczynski.
Tim O'Brien, my apologies. I was about to say that would have been something that Cozzy clunked one from there. And O'Brien to snap it through for the Hawks to give them back the lead. He's got it. Tim O'Brien kicks truly. Hawthorn back in front. Third lead change, final term. 25 minutes into the last.
It was just a good win back by young Will Day. There's a quick kick forward, but James Warple in the right spot at the right time. Swings it out. Who kicked that inside 50? Shields. Liam Shields. And well protected by...
further.
Yeah, he could have too. He pinned the ears back and set sail. But it was well protected. Big Jacob Kozitzki protected Tim O'Brien's back and just allowed him to take a very nice uncontested mark. And a nice finish.
Well, early stages of the final term up at the Gabba, the Swans by 41 points, 17-6, 108, plays 19-7, 67. Here at the Docklands, it's a 1-point game. The Hawks are up. Draper just tries to do it all himself. He was tackled. Ball's at ground level. Picking it up is Merritt on the right boot. It's off the side of the boot. Impey takes a strong chest grab. Lots of pressure there from Devon Smith as well. And he takes the grab on the point of the square, left half back. Slow to get up is Jarman Impey. Umpire calls time back on. Call to play on now. Impey goes backwards and defensively and finds Day.
It's too early for this, isn't it?
26 gone.
Looking at the live television and know how long is left.
So Day runs his full measure. Not doing much on the mark there was Hooker. Kicks it long down the line. Gets over the back. Draper just spikes it down the line. Hine just kicks it forward. Back to Day. On the left. Comes off the side of the boot. Is it going to stay in bounds? It is. And a mark taken on centre wing there by Kozitzki. They're taking their time now. A bit too early, you reckon, Beach?
It kind of feels there's probably another 2 minutes left, 2.5 minutes.
Long kick to left half forward. Free kick's been pulled, not sure who to. No, it's going to go to Draper. So the Bombers have it right half back. Time of the essence. They're down by a point.
They got to go, the Dogs.
Oh!
Draper shakes one off the side of the boot. It slides down the city wing. Picked up by Phillips. Soren. What a comeback. Hell of a game to start the new season. Hawthorn come back from 39 down at the half to beat their arch nemesis by 1. The Hawks get it done by a point.
We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bus with a grin and Hawthorn. Come on, may you fly the sky. Teamwork is the thing that calls. Not for all and all for one. May we play at home. We are the mighty, mighty Hawks.
An unbelievable game of footy. These two teams produce again. Hawthorn by 3 points at quarter time. Essendon came out and kicked the first 7 goals of the second quarter. They led by 39 at the half. Hawthorn kicked the first 7 goals of the third quarter. It was Essendon whose lead was cut to just 1 at three-quarter time. In the final quarter, there were 3 lead changes. The lead swung twice, time on in the last. Tim O'Brien kicks the winner. Hawthorn win by a point.
We're the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bus with a grin and Hawthorn. Come on, may you find us striving. Teamwork is the thing that talks. Not for all and all for one, the way we play at home. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
What a game of footy to get us going. Saturday night. Under the roof at Docklands, first AFL fixture played here since 2019 with a crowd in attendance. And Hawthorn reeling a 39-point deficit and a 40-point swing to beat the Bombers by 1. The goal kickers, 3 for Dylan Moore, 2 for Brockman, 2 for O'Brien, 2 for Morrison. Singles to McAvoy, Hanrahan, Segler, Phillips, Brust, all with 1. While for Essendon, 2 each for Smith, Shield, McDonald, Tip and Woody. And then 1 for McGrath, Draper, Parrish, Merritt, Wright, Hooker and Snelling. 14-8-92 Hawthorn, Essendon 13-13-91. Incredible game of footy. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio. Their initial takes on what we just witnessed.
Well, there wasn't 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah.
It also wasn't Kozitzki who took the mark.
Yeah, no, that's but when you look up at the scoreboard, there was only 3 goals scored. Was there
3 goals in the last term?
Yeah. So hence the short quarter. What would he make of it? Yeah, well, these teams, let's be honest, they're going to be in that say bottom 6, bottom 8 anyway, unless something kind of drastically, I guess, surprises us in a sense. But yeah, it was a good fought. We just didn't expect it at half time for Essendon to be so poor in that third quarter. So, mate mentioned there was going to be a response from Hawthorn, proud club, well coached, whatever. So there would have been some kind of spray or inspirational kind of speech to get the boys up just to have a crack in the second half. And Essendon's effort intensity was really poor, got them back in the game. So then the last quarter was just a bit of a torn cost, really, wasn't it? With circle work, both teams were out on their feet. The low interchange, but there wasn't a team, and both teams they got some older players. Let's be honest, but I think Hawthorn's more on the side; they're a bit more experienced, and the average age would prove that. But no team really said we need to slow this down.
Yeah.
Get a bit of composure, get the game actually on our terms, because it wasn't on anyone's terms. It's a bit of luck who was scoring and who was beating who in that last quarter, because it was just circle work essentially. So you'd say Essendon was on the back foot, as I may have mentioned. They had a lot of numbers back and they just couldn't get back in transition when they won the ball because it was just going so fast out of the back half. But I just would have liked to see one of the teams just to get the game more on their terms and control the game a bit more when it was so hectic, particularly in the last quarter, because we may mention, Liz, that most of the nights it was a bit of circle work, a bit of shootout. It was entertaining, but from a supporter's point of view, you just like a bit more composure from either team. But incredible comeback from Hawthorn after half time, and it was either going to go two ways, wasn't it? So either end up losing it by 10 to 12, or they get themselves back in the game, but they rolled the dice. Essendon were poor, they were great.
Yeah, I don't know whether they roll the dice. They turned up the heat a little bit more, but I think Essendon had their chances, didn't they? They've had 26 scoring shots to 22. Didn't make the most of a chance. At times, momentum shifters. I would think, when Hawthorn did have that roll on, they had a couple of chances there in the third just to maybe stem the flow, but.
That's what good teams do. And more experienced.
They take
teams.
big moments, don't they?
Yeah, well, Hawthorn's got a roll on. They kick 3, you kick 4. Good teams go, that's enough.
Yeah.
So let's implement a plan to shut the opposition down.
Behind, didn't it?
And take away the momentum from them, because we're under siege here.
Yeah.
So then let's implement something on the ground, because we said in the last quarter in particular too, no messages could get on. So there's no message from the box, or the runner couldn't get out. So it'd have to be within the playing group and the players on the field to take control and show to the leadership to actually implement a plan at that particular time and to get the game on their terms. But and I said at half time, you expect Essendon, they're inexperienced and they are young, but to make mistakes, and it showed in that second half.
Yeah.
Just so they didn't know how to stop momentum, they didn't know how to implement a plan, because I'm assuming there's one when a team gets...
Yes, they would have spoken about it, no doubt.
You know what I mean? So that's just leadership experience to be able to get that done within the playing group, because as I said, the messages, and you can't rely on the messages coming from the coach's box all the time.
Yeah, and I asked you that question before. How much is it though because it's so open, you're out on your feet, you see that space in front of you, your instinct is just to go. It takes experience and a disciplined player to be able to say, you know what, it's not the right moment to go here, and I'm not going to be the man who's going to change the momentum here because I'm going to take 4 bounces and lace someone out. No, let's just pump the brakes. I'm going to go back sideways.
Yeah.
And then that bloke's got to be the one. Oh, he's in space. He's going to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
It's.
So that's where there's the communication, the leadership on that field to go, no, we're in this game scenario, we're in this mode because of this, and understand why you're doing it. And you only may need to do it for 2 minutes.
Just wrestle it back a little bit.
minute and a half just to get it back and just get it on your terms, and then expose the opposition with their lack of effort or their defensive transition, just by a kick mark kind of game that slows down. But you can still go fast with
moving the footy fast.
Yeah, moving the ball fast. But
controlled speed.
You can actually, there you go. Thank you. Controlled speed. So there was none of that, but it was an entertaining game of footy. Round 1, remember? We're still round 1. So high expectations.
Premiership favourites at half time though,
yeah,
Corby.
That's right.
Corby was walking around, shoulders back, chest out.
Warn the Essendon supporters just to keep a lid on it, because that's what you're going to see. So you got to be realistic. So not get ahead of yourselves, but you're going to have times where it looks brilliant. You can see what Essendon in particular. I'm talking about Essendon, that what they're trying to do, how they're trying to play, but at times they're going to be exposed. The defenders are young and you got dice down there, but it's all for a kind of a bigger picture. Just keep that in mind.
you saw that, didn't you, a couple of times, Beach? The defensive structure's not quite right, and getting caught out on those ones where, if it's an experienced team, they're not giving up those marks. Like we saw guys.
Yeah, times where they look
just like
behind
wrong
the ball.
side or
lack of communication.
Just like the little things, right?
Yeah, where you look forward to the ball and you go, no, Essendon look all right here. It's not going to be like kick, the mark, goal kind of thing, and then it ended up being that. Just for a few miscommunications, poor positioning from a number of players. But again, that'll get better, but they'll review that. And that's what we know as players to expect from young teams.
Taking a bit of experience out of there as well, though, in Hooker, Hurley, Goddard. There's a few that aren't down there that would.
Sard is 100
wouldn't steer the ship. Ken had played quite a few games towards the end, or knew what it was like. Look, things, as you said, I think mistakes are going to happen, and they'll be exciting at times, which they were. Nick Heim really exciting off half back, and I think he was like an equal inside 50 player from half back, so he's going to give you a dash. But on the flip side, you're going to get caught out a couple of times as well.
They had 3 teenagers in tonight, the Hawks. They only had 4 premiership players. 3 of their 4 best players weren't playing, and the one that was, in Tom Mitchell, hadn't done a pre-season, didn't play any of the practice games with his shoulder. There's no Wingard, no Sicily.
Gunston.
And the Gunston's the other one, obviously, missing from their lineup tonight. And what a learning experience for a young group that Alistair Clarkson can turn around and say, look what happens. 39 points down, 8-1 in the second quarter, hanging the game. They come back and win it from that position. 14-8-92 over Essendon, 13-13-91. And just on that, it looks like Alistair Clarkson's going to jump into the song as well to sing it with the 22 Hawthorn players. Let's duck inside the Hawks room and see if we can catch some of that. Turnaround to come from 39 down at the half to beat the Bombers by 1. Smith put the Bombers in front in the 23rd minute of that final term, and then Tim O'Brien marked in gold a couple of minutes later to return the Hawks to the lead. There were 3 lead changes in the final quarter after Hawthorn hadn't led since the 4-minute mark of the second. The Hawks hold on to win by a solitary point. Second game this weekend, we've seen where neither of the medical subs were used, so we're watching Tom Cutler run laps
stinking
here at Docklands.
You know the sub's back, or some form of sub, when you see guys running after games.
It might not have happened to these guys too often, but every now and again I used to find myself doing that up at the SCG, and you'd always have a few people.
A few hecklers?
In the box.
You were safe at the SCG.
Oh, no, because they had no idea what was going on. So they're up there still in their sports box. They're
drinking their shardy.
In their free booze.
Pretty well lubricated, and they just decide to give you a little bit of free advice over the Baron John, and it echoes. It's just you and them.
Connor Downey lids. So on debut tonight, the 18-year-old. That'll count as his first game.
Yeah, that sucks, doesn't it?
Never stepped onto the playing arena.
Yeah, I was watching him down here at the end of the game. He's sort of like, he's got his warm-up top still on. He's like, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to congratulate. I didn't play a second of the game. And it counts as one, It's sort of like, it's not.
Was that a pretty quick decision by the AFL to say, look, whether you come on the field or not, it still goes down as a game played?
I think the whole thing was a pretty quick decision.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's a good point.
It'll be something that it feels like.
Yeah, but then that goes into
there's all it's outside.
Soft cap, all that kind of thing. So there had to be somewhat of a lengthy discussion about it.
Swans have just put another goal on, 123-73, 50-point margin up at the Gabba.
Shishi cat, Tony Armstrong sitting over there just...
Absolutely. I picked we were going to bounce. I mean, they were going to bounce, Sissy.
That's an amazing scoreline, isn't it? I'm sure we'll talk more about that tomorrow on Grandstand AFL Sunday. The Swannies, 50 points, 19-9 to 11-7 over the Brisbane Lions. There's been some big turn-ups. This was a 50-50 game, and in the end, the Hawks fell over the line to win by a point. They had to hit the front, having trailed by as many as 39 at half-time. They did so early in the last. That was when they hit the front with McAvoy goal. They then fell behind again and came back to win it once more. Earlier today, Melbourne by 22 points over Fremantle. It was the Demons 11-14, Fremantle 8-10. Dockers have a boatload of injuries. They've got 2 more. So Alex Pearce, a knee complaint. It was his first game since 2019 as well, and he was subbed out of the match. Joel Hamling hurt his ankle. And there was plenty of incidents as well. The postscript from what happened in Adelaide. The Crows won the game by 12 points. Tex Walker kicked 4 in the first half. Patrick Dangerfield involved in a collision with Jake Kelly. He chose to bump late. There was a clash of heads. Now, under the current interpretation of the rule, he's culpable for the damage, and Kelly was stretchered off on the Medicab. So watch this space as to what that means for Patrick Dangerfield and how that'll be interpreted. I remember the first time they cracked down on this beach was back in 2014, and Nat Fyfe was the player at the centre of it. Very, very similar incident. Went to bump Michael Rischitelli in Perth instead of tackling him. And they had a clash of heads, and they actually both were busted open. Fyfe was cut, went off the ground, had it patched up. I think they had the sub back then. Rischitelli was subbed out of the game with concussion, and Fyfe missed 2 weeks as a result of it. So very similar case to this.
And I've only seen the incident quickly over my shoulder on the telly before this game, but that looks like another incident where it's literally like he doesn't have time to change his decision because he's run in with
he's trying to put the pressure on.
Pressure to either pressure or to tackle, and then he knows that if he does tackle him, it's going to be a free kick. But he can't hold his momentum.
Yes,
at how fast he was running. So it's like at some point, just common sense has got to come into it. I know he's culpable for the contact, but it's literally impossible for him unless he just jumps out of the way, which I don't even think you can change direction to do that at that.
Not when you're in midair.
At that pace. So, yeah, it's a tough one. And do you know it's I don't know if it's ironic that it just happens round 1. So the AFL here is sitting going, this is going to set a precedence, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's what do they do with it? Again, Asprey from Thursday night had a chance to set a precedence, probably, or they have. It's just whether it's the right or wrong one that we'll argue. So they've got another opportunity here, which a hot topic, concussion, head knocks, all that kind of thing.
Hawthorn have won it by a point, a 40-point turnaround, trailed by 39 at the half. They ran down the Bombers in a sensational game of footy. We had 9 goals in the second quarter, 8 goals to 1 Essendon's way. And then the Hawks did the same thing back to Essendon in the third, 8 goals to 1, a seesawing affair, 3 lead changes in the last. And the Hawks, through Tim O'Brien, kicking the winning goal in the 26th minute of the final term. Hawthorn by 1. Let's kick it down to the boundary. Jess Webster has got the Hawthorn captain with her.
I certainly do. Thanks, Corby. I am here with Ben McAvoy, and what a wild game. I mean, massive momentum swings, a tight finish. Your first game as skipper. You must be incredibly proud standing here right now.
Yeah, I am. I really am. Didn't quite go to plan tonight. Certainly don't like to script yourself being about, 6 goals down at half time. But, sometimes when it goes like that, you learn a lot more. So, really, really happy in the moment now. Certainly we'll review how we went in that second quarter because we won't win many games of footy if we concede 8 goals in a quarter. But, very proud of everyone's efforts tonight.
Round 1, a chance to blow out the cobwebs. What can you take from this game specifically that will help you guys move forward?
Yeah, we'll look at the second half because all we spoke about at half time was that, we've done, about as part of 3 months of training. We didn't have to throw that all out the window just because we were down. So we just got back to everything that we practiced over, the last 3 months over the pre-season. And, that worked for us. So now we've got the proof that it does, it does stand up in a game for premiership points.
Thanks, Ben. We might head upstairs to the box to our grandstand AFL experts, Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
Benny, BJ, mate, congratulations on 2 parts, mate. Congratulations on the captaincy too. Terrific effort. How do you feel the game went tonight? We felt like up here sitting there was a bit of circle work. And we know most teams and most coaches don't like the term circle work thrown around. Did you feel like it was a bit like that out there and it was hard to kind of get composure in the game?
Look, first of all, thanks, BJ. I found it strange. I expected it to be a bit more circle work, especially early. Probably it was pretty sort of tight in that first quarter. It wasn't a huge amount of scoring, but I think that's probably what we've seen. Certainly little bits I've seen in the couple of games the previous nights. That the ball goes up and down a lot, but doesn't necessarily translate to scores. So, no doubt the coaches are a bit frustrated at that, but I think that's, in a big part due to the change in the rule, the man of the mark, and then also the rotation. Just certainly I felt the fatigue kick in tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that. I was just about to mention that because there was evident too in the last quarter. Both teams were out on their feet. struggling to find, targets by foot, by hand. There was a lot of errors. So did you actually feel that out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that there'll be a lot of games of footy this year, not just us, but across the competition. It really comes down to showing a lot of character late in the game when you just got to hang on. I know I got the message about halfway through the last quarter and I was supposed to come off, but it was, you're staying out there for the game. So, you certainly do feel it. And I think that a lot of games will come down to the wire because of that.
Biggest boy, it's Lids here, mate. I just want to talk to you about a couple of young blokes in your back line, CJ and Will Day, mate. Incredible amount of composure, especially from Will Day, but the dash also from CJ, mate. I thought it'd set you guys up in the second half. Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's just so much raw talent there. Both of them read the ball so well and got amazing hands. And, for such young players, I thought they showed really good composure tonight at times, especially Will Day. He's really impressive. He's got an old head on young shoulders. So, really pleased for those guys that they were able to perform well tonight. And I think they'll be really strong contributors for us for a long time, hopefully.
Ben, it's Corbin Middlemass here. As a new leader, I guess, you've obviously seen your player as part of this group, Alistair Clarkson, one of the greatest coaches at halftime when you've got a young group and you're getting punked, you're 39 points down. It didn't look like kicking one at one stage in that second quarter. How do you pick up a young group and build that belief that you're able to come out and do what you did in that third term?
Look, it's a good point. I mean, probably once upon a time you might have ranted and raved and given us a what for, but we certainly didn't do that because that doesn't help, foster that belief. So, as I said earlier, we just went back to everything that we've been doing over the last 3 months, and we'd seen some really good evidence in our pre-season games against the Bulldogs and against North Melbourne that what we're trying to do stacks up. So we were just so poor in a lot of the basics, going to ground and missing tackles and all those sorts of things in the first half. So once we cleaned that up, it actually gave us a chance to get some composure on the footy and then, translate that into scoreboard pressure.
Did you get a sense out of them early in the third quarter that you could go on a bit of a run?
Look, I think once we started, I don't know whether that was a mental thing or whether then, the interchange that we were talking about earlier, whether that affected them. I'm not sure how they went with their rotations tonight, but I've found in the last couple of years football has become such a big momentum game. So being able to capitalise on those momentum swings that you get when they come your way in the game is really important.
Around the competition today, Ben, so we've had a wild game here with wild momentum swings. Sydney have belted Brisbane up in Brisbane. Geelong have lost over in Adelaide against the Crows. Some wild results going, I guess, the other way. What have you made of the footy that you've seen across the weekend?
Yeah, okay, well, those results are news to me. I certainly probably wouldn't have picked them. But, look, I think that... Look, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but to Clarko's credit, he sees it fairly well. He said, we don't know what sort of impact these rule changes are going to have. It could see things swing dramatically, so that's not a very big sample size. It's the first week, but I do think that it's the most significant rule change that we've had in a long time. And, off the back of a couple of pretty tight years where defence was really getting on top, I think it was naturally going to go. Coaches were going to swing it a bit more to offence anyway. And then with these rule changes, it certainly looks to be having an impact at this stage anyway.
Thanks, Ben. Well done on the W. We'll see you on Sunday against the Tigers.
No worries. Thanks, gents.
Sunday a week for Hawthorn up against Richmond, who they actually beat last year by 32 points at the same venue before the teams headed north. Meanwhile, for Essendon, it's Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval Saturday in the twilight. The Power obviously still to play this weekend. We talked about the Hawks and Alistair Clarkson, young group, confidence-boosting victory. If you're Ben Rutten, what are you saying right now to Essendon in a game which they looked like they had in their keeping at half-time?
Well, there's a clear shift in their choices and how they act after half-time, wasn't there? So I said I can almost guarantee you that messaging would have been the same and Ben would have tried to reset them, and there was a great first half, but there's going to be a response from Hawthorn. Let's control what we control and how are we going to respond, and it just wasn't there. It just wasn't the same. I think maybe for the first minute or two they had a couple of opportunities, pressure was good, but once the game opened up, and I think it was 50 to 20 in possessions at one point in time, pretty early in the quarter, it was pretty evident that they'd almost got ahead of themselves a little bit. I don't throw around that lightly because I saw some evidence where a number of midfielders started to get ahead of the ball without actually winging it and hoping and kind of predicting they were going to win it, weren't staying in the contest. It was a poor response from Essendon, because if there's half of the mentality they had in the first half and that third, they'd they'd win this game by probably 2 or 3 goals, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So because it was so poor, it was 8-1 in the third, and just it's hard to catch up from there. It was hard to turn around the momentum even at 3/4 time when you've just gone as a team, a young team too, just gone in going, holy shit, we're up by 8-1 in the half time. We're up by 40 points. Now all of a sudden there's 5 points in it. Where's this gone? It's hard to then reset as a young team and go, we've got to go again. We've got to reset after what's just transpired for 3 quarters.
Great learning game for a young group, I think, and they'll get a heap out of it. And I wouldn't have thought, I don't know, but they wouldn't be tearing the paint off the walls in there.
Not at
It'd
all.
just be. Like, it could have gone either way, really. At one point, it's pretty close. Doesn't get any closer. But it's like a game where you're just like, well, what did we learn, boys? And you probably get the boys to talk about it and say, well, how did you feel in that moment, and what did you do? And then Monday comes, and you'll be saying, right, well, here it is. This is in the first half. What we'll do, and we're outnumbered, and we'll get into that position. All of our boys were getting there. Second half, Hawthorn were doing that to us, and how do we then stem the flow?
Well, it was really a quarter each, wasn't it? So it was
there was
Hawthorn's,
2 8-goal quarters, second and third, either way.
So teams would go, well, for 3 quarters it was pretty solid. Do you know what I mean?
I was about to say, do you review more quarters 1 and 4, and you almost look at the middle quarters and say, look, they had one quarter where they beat our breaks off, and we had one where we did it to them, and the game was decided in the final term? Or do you actually...
You'd still look at it.
No, you
have to learn from how they get that bigger run on. If you do that against a good side, they'll do it for 4 quarters of 8 goals against you.
Yeah, and then highlight what looks so good. It was hard to probably get a real gauge because the opposition was so poor in both the second and third quarters of both teams. So it might
it's not a good test, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tough one, but I think it'd be more around why Hawthorn got on top, or if you're Hawthorn, why did Essendon have such a good quarter, and where we're so poor in those areas.
You've spoken about choices a couple of times, Beej, and when I was at Sydney, John Longmire, even though we were winning almost every week, he used to always say, we aren't a good enough side to pick and choose.
Pick and choose.
And every single
Longmire,
coach,
Rossi Line,
every single coach, I reckon.
You had a coach that use that one, the old pick and choose.
Yeah,
and it's like the second you start picking and choosing, then you can have those run-ons, and then they it spreads like wildfire throughout a side, and you see how quick it can happen. Like, imagine if this was a Richmond side out here against one of those teams today when they chose.
Yeah.
Or didn't choose. Yeah. I was doing air quotes for people listening.
Well, what is it about round 1? I imagine all of you guys would have played in weird round 1 turn-ups. So obviously today it was just 2 evenly matched teams and decided by a point, but more so what's happening around the country. So the Cats lose to Adelaide, last year's Wooden Spooners. And in Sydney, it's almost 7 goals the difference, and the Swans are beating the Lions on their home patch. What is it that round 1 can throw up these weird sort of turns?
Well, there's no real scarring, so every team's going in with a chance because they're feeling good about themselves. Yeah, they're feeling good about themselves. So the teams aren't expected to go well. It's like, we've had a great preseason. We think we're going to be better than we were last year. Or there's not too many teams. I've been part of one team in 2016 where we went, we're going to be shit this year. But most teams are coming in going, we're half a chance. We feel good about ourselves. Had a pre-season, able to, implement a few things. This pre-season it's been short, sharp. Only had 2 practice games. Again, not too many scars out of those things. So that everyone's feeling good about themselves. So that's
believing your own press. Everyone's flying.
Yeah,
the new boys into the club. He's fitting in better than ever.
Adelaide's the one for me. Like they were so poor in that game against Port Adelaide to then completely flip the script.
Yeah, that's true. They're probably the one where it's like, well,
that's the abnormality, isn't it?
37 points. The Swans are up against the Lions. So 19-11, 125 plays, 13-10, 88 with 10 seconds left.
Well, you're saying reading your own press. So, teams like Brisbane think they're going better than
Cats.
Get Joey Danaher.
Get Joey Danaher. Things are just there's little kind of in the back of the head. The players like, we'll bear all right.
Pick and choose.
Well, pick and choose choices.
It's an amazing opening weekend. There's plenty of talking points to come out of it as well. Lids, you'll be with us tomorrow for Grandstand AFL Sunday along with Lauren Arnell, and that starts at 12 noon Australian Eastern Daylight Time in the lead up to the 1 o'clock game tomorrow, which is North Melbourne, Port Adelaide. And that'll be the first game we'll have coverage of tomorrow. Before we go, the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Who's got them?
Well, Brett asked, and he mightn't be here for the next couple of weeks because the lovely
We're
Jew.
expecting our third child. It's very soon. So
I thought you'd give you the opportunity.
Oh, you give me the
mate.
opportunity.
Yeah,
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that, Beej.
You're so kind, Beej.
Yeah.
always thinking
Yeah.
about us.
No, that's good, mate. One vote from the losing side. This guy played his backside off, and as Beej alluded to during the call, his fastest feet I've seen. Little Andy McGrath, 33 and 11 tackles. 2 votes, Will Day, 28 touches, 8 intercepts.
Oh, your man, look
My
at
boy,
you. Yeah.
7 scoring
People out
involvements
there.
from half back.
Yeah, look at him.
He was always getting in, wasn't he?
We heard Big Ben McAvoy speak highly of him, and very good player. 3 death by 1,000 cuts. Tommy Mitchell, 39, 17 of those in the third quarter, and 5 tackles to go along with that. So there's my 3-2-1. Mitchell, Will Day, Andy McGrath.
It's a big number. I remember doing this a couple of years ago, Beej. It might have been your first year out of the game. We had to wait all year for a decent game, but I don't think we ever got one. And here we are tonight, a 1-point game to start the new season on a Saturday night. It's good fun having the band back together.
Good to be back.
You see you all next Saturday night on Grandstand AFL. The footy continues across the weekend. The Hawks have done it. A 40-point turnaround, 39 down at halftime to win by 1. Catch us tomorrow from 12 noon Australian Eastern.